Good afternoon. Hey, Mr. Clacker. There's 4 other people, as well as you. Hi, Average Meat Vessel. You good? You good? I'm gonna try and commit social suicide today. Hi, Reverse. Hope you're good. We're not really talking about trans stuff. I'm sorry to say. Hi, Outsanity. How you doing? Ooh, we put big camera on them. Reading comments. Life got hard of late. I'm sorry to hear that. Shit. Transjoy Boise. I've seen that before. Holy shit. I think I showed it once on my channel. And occasionally I kind of save stuff to watch later, but I often forget. Like, bear in mind, they're one of those channels, I think, that has, like, no subscribers, almost. Hi, Gypsy Lee. I hope you're good. Yeah, Transjoy Boise I've seen. I do need to watch more of them, but I don't know, Matt. It just hasn't lined up yet. 20-second delay. I don't know what to do about that, so I would suggest either moving to YouTube or dealing with it. Sorry. No, Transjoy Boise is a podcast. Hang on, I'll show you. It's a podcast or something. Queer people sitting around a table talking about queer shit. Don't get bashed. Fighting for our rights in 2025. So it's, you know, progressive queer slop. You're just watching a video about HBomberguy. I have I have one of his videos and a couple of others. We're mostly going to be talking about someone called Jordan Owen, who was one of HBomberguy's first targets as more of a woke kind of guy. But yeah, this is I don't know, what's a good sample? Because I don't wanna sit and watch this. Bathroom bounty bill. Join our trans wedding. Hidden impact of Trump's executive order on trans rights. And there's like 2 minutes. This is what that Transjoy Boise is all about.
There was one that I read about a couple days ago, and some of these things, they just seem so outlandishly cruel. They're like, how is this real? Like, for instance, when Trump signed the executive order saying that his administration would only recognize someone's biological sex at birth, male or female, that has a lot of implications that we don't even know about yet. And one of them was when that order went into effect, it changed a provision called the 2003 Prison Rape Elimination Act, or PREA. And that was passed under the administration to combat like the rampant sexual assault that happened in the U.S. prison system. It was applied by Biden and Obama to protect trans inmates because they're already at like a really high risk of assault. So under this new executive order, those protections are gone. And what is the point in that?
Very UK greasy spoon.
Unless it's just to make people suffer. Yeah.
I wonder if there's any gay greasy spoons in the UK, maybe. Hi, Amidoki. Hope you're good.
Things like those are the things that we're dealing with now.
Yeah. And I guess there's an element of thinking like
Homer Guy. I should call him Homer Guy from now on. That's a good name for him.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, how can you know all that is happening and still do it? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. How can you know all that is happening and still do it? Got an ACLU calendar here.
Like, again, I can understand being short-sighted, not understanding the full implications of something, but think you have to know at some point, and especially when you're like the president or something, like you have people around you.
It's
like if you yourself don't know, somebody else is pointing that shit out to you.
It's not a byproduct of his executive order. I think that's something that a lot of people are still struggling to kind of wrap their heads around. This is the point, is to eradicate these marginalized groups. And I think once we start to understand that more as a community, I think we might be able to.
I like how gender is not the same as sex, but yet enshrining sex is like an attempt to wipe out a group of people. It doesn't make any sense.
Organize a little bit better, because
these people are very radicalized, but don't really have a good outlet for it, unfortunately. But that's very common. Oh, in Brighton, yeah, that makes sense. There's probably all sorts in Brighton. He also looks like Homer, so I can't help myself. Nice. Oh, hi, Nicopter. Polygamy wedding. Well, I don't know. Some of these people are into that, Oh, hi, Mischief. There are a lot of gay greasy spoons in the UK, but it means something else. Fair enough.
I'm hoping that we'll get more people interested.
Yeah, it's progressive queer slop, basically. Just don't do crime, you'll be fine. That is a good idea. You probably shouldn't. Unless they make our existence in public a crime, because they're totally gonna do that. Sure, bro. Sure, bro. But yeah, that's who Transjoy Boise is. I should probably get going. I don't have quite as long as usual today. I need to stop at some point and make food and shit like that. The power of intersectionality. I need to I learn a whole bunch more about intersectionality at some point, because I've found a number of huge problems with it. But anyway, how we do? Hey, make sure you like the stream. Have you liked the stream yet? You should like the stream. We're going to talk about HBomberguy. We're going to talk about this guy who is Jordan Owen, who is one of his retesting lag. Please ignore. I just ignored your request to ignore. That's hilarious. Yeah, we're going to talk about Jordan Owen, who was an early victim, shall we say, of HBomberguy. They make so many assumptions, but they don't ever watch conservative content to either actually know. Yeah, people like this often don't listen to others. It's easier to make up people's positions for them, I guess. But yeah, like I've been wanting to look at this for a while, but there was a recent Chardologic segment about someone called James Somerton. So HBomberguy made this video about this guy James Somerton, who it turned out had been plagiarizing all these video essays. We're not going to watch the whole thing, just a little bit so you understand how insane HBomberguy's fans are in the way they go after anyone that HBomberguy criticizes. And it I wonder an awful lot as to how much he cares about that kind of thing, or whether he even does. I've not really seen much evidence that he does, that he really cares what his community gets up to or his fan base gets up to. And this James Somerton guy was ripping off shitty wokeoid video essays and changing a few words and passing it off as content, which isn't cool. If you're gonna produce written content, then write your own content. Stealing other people's shit is not cool. But I just need to find a little bit, because I think the fans of HBomberguy are going insane over James Somerton. Where was it?
Ubasai. He goes, ah. It's like,
I mean, Jesus, it's funny. I'm just trying to find the actual part. There we go. James Somerton is working as a wedding photographer with a plagiarized portfolio, by the way. I think the pictures that he uses are stock photos, so it's a bit kind of funny. I remember I used to like HBomberguy's videos. So did I. I mean, listen, I'm not necessarily coming to some kind of conclusion. I think there's a lot of criticisms of him that don't get heard ever. And not even just of him, but more his fan base, you know what I mean? I remember Essence of Thought was saying someone was copying their homework at one point. Yeah, that Evangelina Skov person, or Scow, I don't know what her name is pronounced like. It was complete bullshit. They both talked about the same subject, and Essence of Thought doesn't like that. I think Essence of Thought, because they're trans, they think they should have the monopoly on certain topics, like Lily Orchard, for example, which was what Evangelina talked about, and then fell afoul. But Essence of Thought is a psychopath, and As far as I remember, Evangelina didn't cave, which is a good thing. Hi, Pierce, I hope you're good. But yeah, so it's about this James Somerton thing. Literally, since he got caught by HBomberguy plagiarizing, which is not a good thing to do, he's kind of tried to reappear and disappear and reappear a whole bunch of times, pretended that he was going to kill himself, which again is not good. It's not a good way of handling this kind of thing, but at the same time, his whole kind of world collapsed, you know? You got to understand that even if it was perhaps deserved in some way, his downfall is gonna take a toll, you know. Oh, thank you, Grief Foundation. I still like some of his work, but it's this weird some moral superiority complex. Thinks YouTube is some scholarly source. Yeah, maybe. I'm more concerned with like what his fans have been getting up to, and like everything I've seen suggests that he's kind of okay with this shit. Like this James Somerton, he's trying to find or forge a new career, should I say, as a wedding photographer, and everyone's like tracking him down and like sharing it and review bombing it. We'll watch a bit of Chad Logic's video.
Way to notice this. With over 15 years of experience, James brings an exceptional level of expertise and creativity to the wedding industry, making him a trusted name among couples seeking to immortalize their special day. This is valid. This is valid. Oh my god. You sound like, dude, I need to ban you. I need to just ban you. You're exactly the kind of insufferable retard that I did not want in my fucking community, that cares about someone, you know, using stock photo. Bro, it doesn't affect your life in any meaningful way. What do you mean? How could you, like, it's funny to laugh at, I guess. Oh, look, he's still doing the same thing, I guess. But to care about, to post like this, it's deranged. Beyond his technical capabilities, James is known for his warm, approachable demeanor, making him a favorite among clients and a pleasure to work with on what is often the most important day of their lives. His professionalism and calm presence ensures that couples feel comfortable and relaxed, allowing them to enjoy their day fully while he skillfully documents their joyous occasion. Okay, so this is the evidence. Let's have a look. Okay, imagine your wedding day, a day brimming with emotion. I'm going to hire him.
Yeah, you got to wonder. Some of these people must be like Googling James Somerton, like on the regular. Like, what's James Somerton up to lately? Better make sure he's not trying to reintroduce himself into society in any meaningful way. And it's like, well, what do you want the guy to do at the end of the day, you know? It was bad, but come on, he has to work. He deserves a chance at life to better himself. Yeah, I agree. Like, if he finds that he can do a decent job taking pictures of weddings, and bear in mind, how the fuck do you plagiarize wedding photography? It's gonna have to be the people at the fucking wedding. Unless you're using like AI or something like that, but be surprised. I don't know. It's just way too much for me. Like tracking this guy down, like cyber stalking him, and I don't know if HBomberguy talks about this kind of thing. I'll have a quick look while we're watching, I guess. But it just seems like, in general, it's come across like he's fine with this, and like I think we'll touch more on that with the Jordan Owen stuff. So I got signed out of like everything for no apparent reason. Which, in Twitter's case, I haven't bothered signing back in again yet. Hang on. Also reset everything to light mode, which is nice. I hate Twitter. I don't think he doesn't post very often. I don't know where he would give any of his thoughts on this kind of thing, but it kind of seems like, because he called this guy out, like so many of these people think they have this kind of moral crusade to go on against someone like James Somerton.
Hiring for an event. Just to fucking smite these retards that are complaining about it. I'm going to recommend them to anyone that's getting married in America. I'm going to say, yeah, you should hire this James Somerton guy. He'd be great. Now imagine being able to relive every single one of those moments exactly as you felt them, anytime you want. That's where memory media steps in. At Memory Media, we don't just create wedding videos, we craft cinematic experiences and encapsulates the essence of your special day. And then it just says about, yeah, James Somerton has a degree in film production from Toronto Film School. Passion, so he's doing cinema quality video production. Okay, and then what have we got here? Okay. Memory Media. Is this plagiarism? Okay. Is this plagiarism? It just looks like he's using stock photos, presumably because he's not actually done any photography for weddings yet, I guess. As long as he's paid for them, is that a problem? I don't think that's plagiarism, is it? It looks like just a generic ad to get started until you actually get work that you can use to represent yourself, I would have thought. It's pretty bad. It's not pretty bad. It's not. It's nothing. It's like something of nothing. You know. And this post has got like thousands of upvotes because all this fucking community care about this gay ass shit that doesn't mean anything. You're total losers if you think this is bad. This is like an irrelevance. This is a trivial affair that at most you should go, oh, classic James Somerton, and then go about your fucking day. Exactly. Yes. If you think it's that bad, don't fucking hire him. If you think it's that bad, don't fucking hire the guy. And if someone hires him and they have a bad experience, they can leave a bad review and they can say, oh, he presented his work in a certain way, but actually when he took photos, they were really shit. Exactly. Okay, let's have a look what these reviews say. Is he maybe he's plagiarizing views as well, guys? Oh no. How did they even find this shit, dude?
Yeah, all this like review bombing shit. It's so crazy to me. Like, what are you doing with your life? Searching fucking James Somerton constantly until you find whatever corner he's fucking appeared at. It's just nuts to me. I don't like James Somerton. I don't know. Like, I mean, me personally, if I'd written the kind of shit that he plagiarized, I'd be embarrassed of it anyway, because all that like queering like media kind of shit I just think is immensely cringe, immensely worthless, but hey. But it's like, Jesus, like a guy's still gotta live, you know what I mean? What if this guy did like off himself? How would these people feel, you know? And I do wonder, like the stock photo thing, it's not a good look for sure. But like, if you don't really have a portfolio together, do you not need like some examples? Like, this is what kind of thing it would look like. And from what I remember, he could have, on this like page or whatever, he could have like communicated that more clearly if that's what he's doing.
Okay, memory media is something else here. Memories to media, that's something else. Okay, I can't even find it. His SEO sucks. But how did they even find this guy? Okay, well, it's not that. Is this it? 2. So here, before this is revealed, it's got 5-star ratings. But now, because of, well, I wouldn't call it review bombing, because there's only like about 10 extra reviews that have been left. But it's now dropped to 2.4. And they're posting like what? Bro.
Hand waves it away like it's a big deal if your wedding photos are shit. Well, how do we know what James Somerton's photography is going to be like? We don't have a clue. Like, because he was plagiarizing some other videos on the internet or some other media on the internet, that means he'd be a bad wedding photographer? Like, I don't know, man.
This is deranged.
And the thing is, if you start doing that job and it turns out you're shit at it, then it's not going to work out long term ultimately.
You are deranged if you're doing this. What, like, dude, this is like absolutely insane behavior. What's that stock photo?
And the other thing is, by the way, if I called someone out and people started using like my picture and stuff, being like, oh, you're raped, this person called you out, I wouldn't like that. I think there's a limit to this kind of shit, you know what I mean?
Show what you're doing there, bucko. You should look up this guy before giving money to someone who hasn't done a single horrible thing in his entire professional career. Hi, James. Nice try, but the heat will never fade. Like, what do you want this guy
The heat will never fade.
to do, bro? What exactly do you want this guy to do? Literally just review bombing, leaving fake shitty reviews. It's fucking sickening, dude. Okay. Look. All these 1-star reviews. Where are the actual reviews from before?
He said, who cares if the photos are shit, you leave a bad review. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with anything. We're more talking about the fact that before this guy has even started doing this new job that he's doing, before he's even really started on this new endeavor, people are already like hounding him and stuff.
Oh, here we go. So these are the actual reviews here. Professional, helpful, and high quality. Are these real, though? These are all on the same date. These seem like bullshit, to be honest. These seem like fake reviews, I must say.
That's not helping his case either. Like, if you're actually faking. The other thing is, if he's got these reviews, by the way, wouldn't he have, like, examples to show that aren't stock photography? But anyway.
So, yeah. But in any case, I mean, what a deranged action. Like, what even is this fucking website, bro? Going out of your way to leave fake shoddy reviews. This looks like AI. He's botted his own reviews. I mean, I'm sure, you know, whatever. I mean, it's obviously fucking lame to bot your own reviews. But it's even more lame to go there specifically to bring down the review score with fake reviews.
Yeah, so this is what I'm kind of trying to show, is this kind of effect. HBomberguy brings this guy down for a fair reason. It's perfectly fair to criticize someone like this. But then I don't see any evidence that he gives a shit that his fans are going to be stalking this person for like the rest of his life, presumably. Like, it's really quite crazy to me. But what I wanted to look at was this guy, Jordan Owen, who was like an early target of HBomberguys, I guess. And he doesn't talk about Jordan Owen. I mean, Jordan Owen is not a very well-known person. Like, he never has been. But he made this video, which this is a response to. And from what I remember, like I've seen bits and pieces of like Jordan Owen talking about the effect that HBomberguy had on him. And it kind of seems like there's a pattern. It kind of seems like he's kind of fine with his fans going after people and like harassing people, and you know, it's this kind of righteous bully kind of shit. But we'll watch some of the HBomberguy video first. And listen, I'll probably end up still finding it something funny. I used to really like HBomberguy. It is what it is. But this is the Sierra effect video that this is in response to.
Are you worried about video game feminism, but also a fan of the works of Sierra? Fresh off the white-hot financial success of the landmark premiere 9 people attended, Jordan Owen is at it again for the low price of 60.
Yeah, he made some documentary about Anita Sarkeesian or something. Obviously, Anita Sarkeesian was heavily criticized back in the day. Bear in mind, this is what, 2016, long time ago.
You can help noted filmmaker and very happy man Jordan Owen make a documentary about the golden age of Sierra Online. Why Indiegogo and not Kickstarter, you ask? Because if the project doesn't make its goal, he can still keep all the money. I mean, because you can tell Jordan's a professional because he put the macOS default screensaver on, you know, for extra effect. Come on, nudge the mouse, please. Nudge. It's distract. I can't just nudge.
The game creators themselves.
That's a trick I remember from the Sarkeesian effect, the legendary editing technique known as the jump cut.
Travel and production expenses, as well as promotion and salaries for a 4-person crew. But even more importantly, it will go to pay for the professional quality editing and post-production work that we need to make this film really shine. We have some really cool...
What an amazing professional crossfade right there. That must have taken at least 2 mouse clicks. That'll be 60. But just in case Jordan's...
I'm going to say, actually, I thought this was funnier than it is, actually. Like, wow, editing on some fucking vlog, amazing. Wow.
Insistence that he'll make a good documentary this time I promise didn't sell you. Check out this awesome test footage he shot, featuring 2.5 minutes or less of interview footage of a game developer at his house. This footage is honestly so much better looking than the Sarkeesian effect. It has crossfades and B-roll, and the main interview subject is in focus, and most importantly, it isn't made by a racist magician. And this footage only cost $1,500 to make. Wait, what?
And I took out a personal loan with him that I will, for $1,500, I'll be paying back with interest.
He needed to take out a loan from someone, but bear with me here.
Give me a minute. I'll just be back in, like, a minute. They were right about Gamergate. It was AstroTurf. They have receipts and everything now after auditing USAID, and HBomberguy was wrong. Hey, potentially. I haven't looked into it that much, but I don't know. I used to be very anti-Gamergate and shit like that, and I think I've changed my perspective a heck of a lot since then.
There wasn't any money left over from the Sarkeesian effects budget, at least after buying 2 MacBooks and a Mac Mini and a new camera to film his vlogs with. 9 trillion yen! But wait, Corey Cole, creator of the Quest for Glory series, publicly refused to appear in the documentary after looking up Jordan's previous work online.
TLDR, we will not appear in his film. In this documentary, he shows a complete lack of understanding of Sarkeesian's work.
That troglodyte. What sort of idiot judges people based on the things they've said and done in the past? Ugh, liberals. But Jordan's coverage of Sarkeesian has always been above board. He's always focused on the important issues.
They haven't said anything about it, but you might also notice that she's learned to smile like a white person. If you look at...
that's a big wide mouth grin?
Yeah, if you look at her... Oh, no, don't!
That's pretty cringe. That's pretty cringe. What else we got?
You donated bone marrow. Fuck you.
And besides, the music's actually alright, considering that Jordan Owen only knows how to play one instrument as far as I can tell, and that instrument is the world's tiniest violin. You get it? Yeah, it's a tiny violin. I bought this for this joke.
You remember when he had hair, by the way?
Are you happy?
I shudder to think. Hope you're good.
I'm funny. I'm funny.
What could be off-putting about this hour-long video? And look how cordial he was when he thought he'd caught Ada Sarkeesian lying about something.
Oh yeah, you're fucking
I have a hard time wondering why the Coles wouldn't want to associate with Jordan. It couldn't possibly be because of the things he writes and says and does. But don't worry, I'm sure Jordan will plow on regardless and use a portion of the $20,000 he would have spent traveling to interview them to improve the quality elsewhere or research the history in even more depth.
The project has now been cancelled.
Oh, truly, this is a loss for the world of documentary cinema. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Even the title of this video is a deliberate lie for attention.
Ken and Roberta Williams will not speak to me. The two guys from Andromeda will not speak to me. Jane Jensen will not speak to me. Jim Walls, Christy Marks, nobody will speak.
Yes, this didn't work out very well for him. Gamergate was kind of rough on both sides. I might refer back to this video, but I wanted to watch this one. It might take a short while to get going, but this was his response, and this was a long time later. Like, because from what I remember, from what I've seen of this guy's videos, like, this actually kind of affected him quite badly. Like, he got a lot of harassment, he got a lot of shit, because like, as mentioned, there was another couple of videos that he did about this guy as well. But yeah, we'll have a look. So this is Jordan Owen's video. To HBomberguy, RE the Sierra Effect, a measured response, which is this video here.
Hey everybody, so this video that you're about to watch has been a long time coming for me. I know it seems like it's coming out of the blue for everybody else, but for me it's part of an ongoing process. Something that I think I've only ever vaguely alluded to in my YouTube videos in the last few years. But I've been on kind of a personal road in my life. And, you know, those who
like HBomberguy.
followed my channel for some time know that a few years ago I tried to make a documentary film that and put it out, and although the film came out, I succeeded only in embarrassing myself. And to people who, supportive people who want to write in and say, well, I saw the movie and I liked it, I appreciate it, I really do, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, but for me it was just a colossal failure and a waste of my time. And I had to kind of disavow it completely, because there's that old saying, don't cling to a mistake just because you spent a long time making it. In my case, literally making it. But anyway, I had wanted to follow up completing that documentary with a second documentary, and the second movie would have been about Sierra Online and the gaming company, whose games I grew up with. Due to the content, and by the way, we're going to address specifics as we go. I'm trying to set this up in basic, more general terms right now, but due to the content of my first documentary, which was very controversial to say the least, there was too much conjecture and too much controversy around what would become of my second documentary that I was ultimately forced to abandon making it. A few weeks after I canceled the crowdfunding for that documentary, this video by HBomberguy was made, and it was put up. I did not respond to this video when it came out for two reasons. One, because I felt like, you know, there might have, at the time, I felt like maybe down the line there might be a chance I could salvage my Sierra movie, and if that were ever possible, I didn't want to keep this controversy going. I wanted it to brush over as quickly as possible. And two, because this video was...
My guess is going to be it didn't just brush over.
So unbelievably embarrassing that I just didn't have it in me to respond to. And what's funny is, in anticipation of doing this, I watched this video and a few other videos that were made at the time, and they really weren't as bad as I remember. And I think I can say that. I mean, that's obviously, it's not great that the opinions, I don't appreciate what was said in these videos, but it did not feel as damning as it did at the time. And I attribute that feeling to a great deal of personal growth that I've been working on, and I don't say that lightly. It's also not something I want to flaunt, because it's not something that I want to be bragging about, but just for the sake of the discussion, you know, there's been a great deal of introspection, a great deal of you know, personal accountability for the person I grew into, which, you know, most of the, you know, there are a lot of apologies made, genuine apologies, and none to any public figures that you would know of, but more to private people whose relationships I neglected, you know, good people that I neglected in my life and that kind of thing during that time. And so I want to respond to this video. See, what prompted me, the video we're going to watch, we're going to look at, is called The Sierra Effect, A Measured Response by HBomberguy. Harris, HBomberguy, and his name is widely known, by the way, that's not doxing, but anyway, Harris has made a tremendous splash as a YouTuber and found a great deal of success in the years since making this video. And the funny thing is, he does really good content. Like, his content is really good. So because he does make good content, and I found videos of his in the years since this video went up.
Tommy Wiseau. Yeah, fair enough. Hi, Amy. I hope you're good.
I found content from him that I actually like, that I actually think is really good. And so in fact, he had one video that was a takedown of the pickup artist community, for example, that I wholeheartedly agreed with. But I want to readdress this, but this is going to be very unique in my responses, because the thing is, after years of having had time to think about this and look back at it, I realized that he was wrong about certain facts that I do want to correct, but he was not wrong. He was certainly correct in the broader abstract of what the larger point he was trying to make was correct. And I want to acknowledge that, and I want to talk about it some and talk about getting to the point where I realized that.
Oh, hi, Mark.
But two things need to be made very clear. One is that I'm going to have to talk a little bit about some disagreements that I had with the one Corey Cole. Please understand, as I say this, I am not trying to restart any old, bad blood or anything. There's no bad blood between me and Corey Cole at all. He and I spoke privately years ago and buried the hatchet as gentlemen. And I wish him and his wife all the best. And this is in no way, shape, or form meant to incite any kind of controversy in that regard. The other thing is, because there are things where I'm misrepresented in this and I misquoted on things that I said, I'm going to have to go back and restate and reiterate arguments that I made in the past that if I had them to do over,
Is my stream, sorry, ever not a jump scare?
I never would have made at all. So please understand that this is me trying to clarify things that I said while I was still very much in my shock jock persona and that kind of thing. And that is something that has been very deliberately dead and buried for a long time. But for the sake of
Hi, Toast Gaming, hope you're good.
accuracy, I'm going to have to talk about them to clarify. Anyway, last but not least, as I get into this, there will be absolutely no discussion of my former business associate. This is about me, not him. All right, let's do this.
Are you worried about video game feminism, but also a fan of the works of Sierra? Fresh off the white-hot financial success of the landmark premiere 9 people attended, Jordan Owen is at it again, for the low price of $60. You can help noted filmmaker and very happy man Jordan Owen make a documentary about the golden age of Sierra Online. Why Indiegogo and not Kickstarter, you ask? Because if the project doesn't make its goal, he can still keep all the money. I mean, because you can tell Jordan's a professional.
So one of the things that prompted me to make this video now, this has been very much on my mind for, since it came out, was doing a response video to it eventually. But one of the things that prompted me to do this now was I just saw this video that HBomberguy did with Legal Eagle, and the subject of the video was how to avoid running afoul of defamation and libel laws in making YouTube content. This is actually a good topic. I mean, this is a good piece of information to have, and that's why I said he does good videos. But the thing is, what you just did there, the fact that you were trying to be funny about it does not cover up the fact that you were just accusing me of planning to take the money and run. And the problem with that, the reason that doesn't hold any water is because, one, because I delivered on my previous project, and two, because that's true of literally anybody that uses flexible funding. The real reason I didn't use Kickstarter was because Kickstarter had one of the people who worked for Kickstarter when the funding began for my first movie. One of the people who worked for Kickstarter contacted Jack Conte and tried to pressure him to discontinue the crowdfunding. And so, I figured, well, I'm already done. Kickstarter's never going to want to do anything with me, and I don't really want to do business with them anyway. So that was why I picked Indiegogo and picked the flexible funding. And I made it clear up front that if I didn't get all of the money I needed, I would.
Yeah, he's condescending, he's bitchy, as kind of part of the comedy. If you're able to get on his side and dislike the person that he's talking about, then it's probably funny,
Go back and do another crowdfunder to continue. That said, it's not. In retrospect, it's not the course of action I should have taken at all.
Well, because he put the macOS default screensaver on, for extra effect. Come on, nudge the mouse, please. Nudge. It's distract. I can't just nudge.
The game creators themselves.
That's a trick I remember from
motion quality editing.
Crossfade right there. And that he'll make a good of a game developer at his house. Interview subject is in focus. Hey, what?
And I took out a personal loan with him that I will, for $1,500, I'll be paying back with interest.
He needed to take out a loan from someone, but bear with me here. There wasn't any money left over from the Sarkeesian Effects budget, at least after buying 2 MacBooks and a Mac Mini and a new camera to film his vlogs with.
When I first saw, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is where...
I think his name is actually like Harry Brewis or something, but he tends to be referred to as Harris.
you know, I readily admit I may have just not understood what
This guy's name is Jordan Owen, though. His name's not Tommy.
was initially being said. When I first saw this video, my interpretation of it was that you were suggesting that I should not have spent production money on those things. In which case, the thing about the camera is very confusing to me, because I don't understand, for a film production crew, what could possibly be more appropriate to spend production money on than filming equipment. That said, I also want to clarify, I had the, I don't know if you were, I don't think this was a willful omission on your part, but these two computers, they're not both MacBooks, only one's a MacBook, but I had both of them before we started filming. One is my general purpose PC, with which I also do video editing with, and then the other one is my MacBook that I do music production stuff with. So I had both of them, they're visible in the background of my videos, earlier videos. That said, it sounds like it sounds like, if I'm interpreting you correctly, it sounds like what you're really just wondering about is
Where'd I go? I turned my camera off for a second. I do that sometimes.
what the money was spent on for the Sarkeesian.
I'll do it again, watch. Listen, I'm gonna disappear. See this? Forever gone? Oh no, it's a mystery.
Effect and how that broke down. I'll get to that in due time in a minute.
9 trillion yen. But wait, Corey Cole, creator of the Quest for Glory series, publicly refused to appear in the documentary after looking up Jordan's previous work online.
TLDR, we will not appear in his film. In this documentary, he shows a complete lack of understanding of Sarkeesian's work.
That troglodyte. What sort of idiot judges people based on the things they've said and done in the past? Ugh, liberals. But Jordan's coverage of Sarkeesian has always been above board.
How do you want to be called Harris? To be fair, if you say any name enough times, it starts sounding a bit ridiculous, right?
He's always focused on the important issues.
They haven't said anything about it, but you might also notice that she's learned to smile like a white person. If you look at...
that's a big wide mouth grin?
Yeah,
That is a weird fucking thing to say, I'll be honest.
look at her,
Oh no, don't!
smile.
Jordan, no!
Well,
But it's like, the thing is, if you scour through anyone's content, you can probably find all kinds of weird things that someone said. If you scour through a bunch of HBomberguy's videos, you can probably come across a bunch of points that you could be like, well, that's bad faith, or that's kind of, oh, you're suggesting something that clearly isn't the case. I don't fucking know.
she's less genuine all the time, but if you look at, you know, when she's smiling...
Like a white person. He says it like he owns a fucking plantation.
And I'll be honest, there was definitely a point to be made about how, like, insane some people went over Anita Sarkeesian, as much as I don't like her or what she's about personally.
Or they're especially her upper lip.
But then the other thing is, this kind of thing, if you were to do an HBomberguy on someone that you feel is like making way too much content about a person, well, it's like, who do you choose from? There's like millions of fucking videos by now about someone like Hassan, someone like Ethan Klein, all kinds of people. Have you seen the reaction to J.K. Rowling making fun of Asexual Day? It's the same people you'd expect. I've seen bits and pieces. I truly don't care. I don't know. I'm not offended. I sometimes don't know why J.K. Rowling gets involved in that kind of shit, but I guess it's part of her brand now. Also, hi, Madvad. I hope you're good.
Stop, he's still talking about it!
Sort of, there's a curvature to it where the outer...
She's a wrong smiler. She doesn't smile like her race. She's a wrong smiler. That'll be $54,000, please.
Indicative of how someone from that ethnic background might smile, whereas, and I'm not trying to... Okay, so this is something that has to be handled very carefully, and please understand when I say this. This is what I was talking about, where I'm not trying to have these arguments again. I'm not trying to champion this position. I'm not trying to stand behind it. It's something that's been widely that I said in the past that's been widely misunderstood. So I'll explain what I meant, but please understand, I'm not trying to have the discussion again. I'm not trying to restart that discussion. In media theory, there is a concept known as white.
By the way, he's like kind of capitulating so far. I find that I should point out, we've got almost 6,000 views, only 90 likes. It seems like not very much. I'm guessing the dislikes is quite a lot more. The comments are turned off, so I'm guessing he caught a bunch of shit for even talking about this like years later.
Whitewashing, where on the one hand, black or ethnic entertainers in general are phased out in favor of white performers, or
an outrage merchant. Oh, Anita Sarkeesian. I mean, arguably she always was.
They are encouraged to dial back in some way, or hide their ethnicity. An example of this historically in the music industry was during the 50s and early 60s, there was a huge influx of Italian
I lost Coyote as well.
Performers that were encouraged to adopt pseudonyms and wear their hair differently and style themselves in different ways so that they appeared more Caucasian, so that they could be better marketed to a Caucasian audience. Within that, an example of that, Connie Frank.
Oh, J.K. Rowling. I mean, I don't know. She talks about some stuff that is like important. I don't know. I don't really know which way to fall, because it's very old hearing all these people calling her like transphobic ad nauseum. I don't think it's helpful. I think this like trans crusade against J.K. Rowling is fucking cringe and should have stopped years ago. Preferably as soon as possible to the time she first started talking about it. But I don't know, she's still right about some stuff, and she talks about like feminist issues. People pretend she doesn't, but she does.
Francis was originally, I think, like Conchetta Francesco or something.
Yeah, the other thing is, yeah, the kind of people that will make videos in every tiny little thing she does. On the one hand, she's kind of enabling a hell of a lot of careers, kind of similarly to how Donald Trump winning the election enabled a hell of a lot of careers. And you've got complete dipshits like Powered by Rainbows or Xander Howell or whoever else that have had a massive second wind from someone like that. But with J.K. Rowling, it just reminds me of Katie Hopkins, if you know who Katie Hopkins is. She used to go around saying all kinds of crazy shit in the UK. You'd get left-wing blogs, left-wing media covering every single thing she says, every crazy thing coming out of her mouth. Oh my God, it's so offensive. Have you heard this new thing that Katie Hopkins has said? And all it did was keep her in the spotlight. All it did was make her more and more famous. And then eventually, fucking years, I don't want to say years later, but a long time later, finally I started to see these like articles from these new media outlets. Oh, we're not going to cover Katie Hopkins anymore. I'm like, why weren't you fucking doing that to begin with? You hate this person so much, but every time you talk about the offensive shit she's saying, you're like emboldening her. It's like, for someone like that, any press is good press. And the people that support her are going to be reading that kind of shit and laughing at it. It's like, oh, you're offended, you know, that kind of shit. So yeah, I don't know. I see it as similar. And I think that the whole like crusade against J.K. Rowling by like trans activist types has been a massive fucking failure. One of the biggest failures of like trans activism, honestly. We should have left her to it. I'm gonna guess there's probably loads of videos about this. Yeah, straight away Ace is what comes up. J.K. Rowling and the asexual hate. Oh, is this a trans man? I've not heard of this person. Fade Walker. Listen, this will help me. This will help me find more people. I guess J.K. Rowling hates asexual people now too, because she made like one tweet. Like, wow, woke Karen. Listen, this is great. I can find more people to talk about.
I remember the first time I saw a TV show acknowledging the concept of...
Okay, that sounds soy already. Well, this person... J.K. Rowling tweeted about asexuality, so this angry ace guy needs to rant. Asexuality in the Twitter chat. I don't know, I need to change it to videos, don't I? Yeah, this is a... Oh, here we go. Council of Geeks weighed in. This person is a fucking loser, by the way. Absolutely insane. J.K. Rowling, asexuals. Oh, two videos by the same source. Got this shitty video from Kaylin Conrad that I couldn't finish because Kaylin Conrad is one of the worst people I've ever watched in my life. J.K. Rowling and the asexual community. J.K. Rowling and the asexual hate. These people are fucking nuts. Like, what are you doing? Okay, finally, we're starting to move away. Yeah, she has made like a whole cottage industry. It's absolutely insane. Oh, you know who woke Karen is? I'm very glad I don't. This looks like the most soy shit I've ever seen in my life. This guy literally looks like he has no business calling himself a man. Anyway, we're watching something.
Something like had a much more...
Katie Hopkins, the original rage baiter. Yes, exactly. And people fucking fell for it. And then we treated J.K. Rowling the exact same way. It's just contributed to her cause. It's given her ammo. Like, there's entire websites dedicated to just collaging all these different, like, threats that people have made against J.K. Rowling. And it's like, in what universe is this making anyone look good? And now, like, now the gender critical movement is much bigger than it used to be. It's been very legitimized when, like, go back 10 years or whatever. Like the whole TERF thing, it was a joke. It was all like extremists. It was like crazy, often very misandrist people, you know what I mean? But now it's been legitimized. Now it's like mainstream. Our health secretary is like gender critical, you know what I mean? And maybe if we hadn't gone so fucking ham after J.K. Rowling, maybe that wouldn't have been quite so much the case. I'm not sure.
Obviously ethnic name than what she was ultimately given. And I noticed in Sarkeesian's presentation that she was doing certain things that are in line with whitewashing, and I do think she was trying. I do think she was going for a certain look and going.
Okay, I'm not sure why he's doubled down on this. This is a bit strange. Didn't even threaten to burn Anita Bryant at the stake. Did they not? I don't know. I don't know too much about the Anita Bryant stuff. I suppose when we didn't have the internet, there was less people could do with that outrage in that respect. So.
For this look that was going to make her look more Caucasian, and that's what I was referring to with the smile thing. It does, you know, there was a guy named Hannibal the Victor, screen named Hannibal the Victor 13, who really took me to task on this, and you know, I tried to explain to him what I meant, and he couldn't let it go. Like, he couldn't let go. He kept holding on to the idea that that this must have some subversive race realism element to it or something like that. That's all I was trying to say, and I regret. I know it's.
Sorry, there's something funny about watching the cat jump up and get thrown off. Jump up and get thrown off is funny.
Sounds stupid, and in retrospect, I never would have said it, but I'm only going to cop to what I actually meant. You know, so this the whole ethnic, as he's putting it, ethnically correct smile thing. It was just, all I was referring to was that there are these things, and I don't want to go into great detail because I'm not trying to remake the argument, but there are these things that I believe she was doing to appear more Caucasian. And that's all it was. And the reason I was making that argument was because I thought it was hypocritical for somebody who is ostensibly coming from a very progressive angle to be playing.
What color shrimps should you get? Red, white, and blue better. I have absolutely no idea. I'm sorry.
Playing into that, to be playing into very old ideas about media presentation, if indeed that's what she was doing. I think she was. I could be wrong. Now, that's all I meant. That and nothing else. And I want to say this is one of those kind of. This particular thing is one of those kind of demon on my back things, because I live in the South. I've lived in the South, the U.S., the Southern United States, most of my life, and you know, we've got a big backstory of racial inequality down here, and I've seen some of it firsthand, up close and personal, firsthand, in a way that a lot of these people have not. And so this is something I take very personally and very that is very important to me. And this is why. You know, this is something that I've been trying to come to terms with over the years after all of this, was that I ultimately let myself down. I sacrificed what I actually believe for, and what really is important to me, for short-term gains that were ultimately very hollow and meaningless.
I wonder why he couldn't just talk with Jordan directly. He's famously excellent at responding to criticism.
But if you have a problem with any aspect of the production, fuck you. I don't care if you donated $10,000.
Yeah, you're going to get like these very out of context things. If you add in the context, it probably makes sense. But how many people are going to listen? I mean, bear in mind how many views this has. How many views has this got? How many people are going to bother listening to this guy? They'll hear HBomberguy saying this kind of shit about this guy and showing these like out of context things that, yeah, this seems a bit deranged, but it's like, I don't know. Have any of us that have ever used Twitter, can any of us say that we've not ever spurged out about something pretty insignificant, at least once on Twitter, you know what I mean?
I don't care if you don't.
But like, people aren't gonna look for like context. They're just gonna hear a guy framing a guy in a way that makes him sound like sexist and anti-feminist and potentially right-wing or whatever, and they'll just run with it. And that's always gonna be the risk you're gonna take. Forrest Valkai, no, Forrest Valkai is not involved in this, thankfully. I should watch him again at some point though.
Donated $10 million. I don't care if you donated bone marrow. Fuck you.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is I had alluded in the past, early in the video, I had alluded to the fact that this was going to be a certain amount of mea culpa on my part, and I do want to acknowledge wholeheartedly, and, you know, part of the way I'm talking right now is my presentation mode, like I'm trying to make a presentation here. I want it understood that this is something I actually do regret, even if I don't express that.
I mean, it's a weird post. It's like spurgy and like unself-aware. The fact that you're feeling the need to you know, and again, we're like appeasing. It doesn't seem like it worked, which sucks.
That regret right now, as I'm presenting it, I really and truly do regret saying that. So please, you know, go with me on that. But anyway, what had happened, I should not have said it, I should not have responded to it that way, but I was getting a lot of these emails from people, And it's hard to know who's serious and who's not. This person that I was responding to apparently was. But it's hard to know in these emails or these text messages, whether it's on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or whatever, it's hard a lot of times to know who's serious and who's not. Like, I got one guy that messaged me and said I should give all of the footage that I had filmed to Adam Baldwin, the actor, and let him edit the footage together. Now, never mind that Adam Baldwin had never expressed any interest. You know, he was tangentially sympathetic to what we were trying to do, but he had never expressed any interest in editing the movie, had never expressed any ability to edit the movie. He's an actor, not a film editor. But anyway, you know, all of that, you know, just these ridiculous ideas. And this was one that
hi, Sick Hello. I hope you're good.
Came down the pipe. This guy came to me. The person messaged me. I don't remember what the words verbatim. I don't have them in front of me. I don't even remember where the conversation took place. But this person messaged me, and they wanted me. They didn't like the soundtrack that I was writing for the movie that I was doing, and so they had said I found these royalty-free soundtrack clips that you can use instead of the music that you're writing, and that felt like a huge middle finger to me at the time. Again, I had a professional responsibility not to respond that way. But it's still not to respond the way I did, to take it in stride, but it still felt like a giant middle finger to me. I'm a professional musician. I'm a graduate of a major music school. And it was just unbelievably insulting to me. And that's why I responded the way I did. Again, I should not have. But one of the questions that keeps arising in all of this that people have always asked me through the years, antagonistic people have always asked me through the years, is now do you know how it feels to be Anita Sarkeesian? And I can't say with any certainty that I do or ever could.
Now you know how it feels. Like, well, we bullied you back. How do you feel now? This like virtuous bullying shit again. It's such a common theme with HBomberguy. Well, I say HBomberguy, it's more his fans, but I mean, you know, he makes the videos, he picks out things that some of it is just like random spurgery, some of it is very out of context. You know, he still knows what he's doing ultimately.
But there are certain understandings that I've come to. And one of those is that there are some structural problems with the idea of crowdfunding in general. One of which is that a lot of times I think backers don't understand that just because they've contributed money does not make them a shareholder in the project.
My brother from another mother. Do we look similar? I don't know. Well, I'll think about that. I don't. We both have long hair. We're both males with long hair. He's a lot hairier than I am. I was never this hairy. Like, I used to get like some chest hair and stuff, but that all started disappearing when I took hormones.
Project, it doesn't make them, you know, we are accountable to them to the extent that we deliver a product at the end of the run, but they don't get a voice in how the production is done. And the idea that people were...
I have a little bit, you probably can't see it, I have a little bit of like arm hair, but it's very fine and it's like a light color. Again, I think I was a bit hairier, but never very hairy. I think I was quite low T.
Coming to me saying, you ought to do this and you have to take me seriously, because you have to seriously consider implementing my idea because I'm a backer. That was never an agreement of being a backer. It was never agreed that you got to have a hand in the production. And so that's what I was referring to. I was trying to say, no, I should have been respectful about it. This is not how I, you know, years later, this is absolutely not how I do business, but I should have been respectful about it. But that was the point I was trying to make. Being a backer, no matter how much money you put in, does not make you, it does not give you a voice in what's being made. That's still for us to do. That is what I was saying. That's one of the problems with crowdfunding. And that's why, aside from a Patreon for my channel as kind of a tip jar, I am not doing any more crowdfunding ever. I don't care. No, it's not being done because it's too much of a headache. It is too shaky of a foundation.
Probably for the best.
Foundation, and I could do a whole.
Sarkeesian is a woman who wanted to change gaming to be more inclusive of women by making games not appealing to men who never game to staff. Literally just annoying and destructive for no reason. I didn't look too much into like Anita Sarkeesian. I think I tended to be doing the whole like, oh, sexism bad, oh, you can't be mean to women and that kind of shit at the time. But like, yeah, I was never a fan of her. Like, whenever I hear like quotes of her speaking about this kind of shit, I'm like, and she wasn't even a gamer herself as well, so. And like, I don't know. You have a game where the female character is a bit sexualized. Is that really the end of the world? The Rock has no hair and is extremely high T. I'm self-conscious about this topic as a man that can't grow a beard for shit. Listen, I couldn't grow a beard for shit either. I've had most of it taken out by now, but I used to get the pirate stash and like the soul patch and a little bit of this. Really, really patchy around here and up here. So I know your pain. Like, unfortunately, not everyone's gonna get a good beard. Hope you're good, Thomas Jackson.
Video and probably should have, like, crowdfunding's a bad idea. But anyway, that was what I meant, and I want to reiterate again to that person.
So the other thing is, being high or low T does not actually impact who you are as a person all that much. Like, are you a better person because you have high T? Not really. Are you more of a man because you have high T? Well, I mean, if you can, I don't know. I think a man is more than just testosterone, I guess.
I'm sorry for the reaction that I had to all of the backers. I'm sorry for that reaction that I had to everybody. I am immensely and without
I'm the feeling of having to apologize for like this like spurg out on Twitter. You know what I mean? It's just a bit. It kind of sucks in a way. And then it clearly doesn't look like it was well received anyway. Which, like shit, you know, ordinarily, someone will act that way on Twitter. Yeah, you might get a few people like question you on it and shit, but like it's not normally that big a deal. But this became a big deal just because these videos like popped off, you know?
hesitation and without question. Sorry for that reaction.
And besides, the music's actually all right, considering that Jordan Owen only knows how to play one.
Oh, I was blonde until I was about 4 or 5, and then my hair slowly started getting darker.
Instrument, as far as I can tell, and that instrument is the world's tiniest violin. You get it? Yeah, it's a tiny violin. I bought this for this joke. Are you happy? I'm funny.
Believe it or not, Harris, I actually am happy that you did that. I actually think I like, you know, your self-effacing demeanor is good. It plays well, and you have good comic beats in all of this. And that's like I said, you do good content, you do good videos, and that's why it kind of prompted me to think about this more. I'm not just kissing your ass when I say that. I mean, this is good. It's good production. It's good comedy, and you are funny. But I actually like that, and that's the thing. That's where I find myself in this weird place where I'm actually appreciating the comedy of it and appreciating the beats and the rhythm and the humor. So.
I have a hard time wondering why the Coles wouldn't want to associate with Jordan. It couldn't possibly be because of the things he writes and says and does.
Yeah, again, another... Jesus Christ. Another bad look, like shouting at the camera like that, but most people get away with it. Like, this guy was super unlucky in a way, I guess. You make a video criticizing someone, it pops off. I mean, Jesus Christ, I have to deal with the fact that maybe that'll happen to me. I'll criticize someone and it'll pop off, or someone will criticize me and that'll happen, you know? Either way, there's like consequences.
Does. But don't worry, I'm sure Jordan will plow on regardless and use a portion of the $20,000 he would have spent traveling to interview them to improve the quality elsewhere or research the history in even more depth.
First of all, so as regards to the video stuff he just montaged, that was all of those things, again, are things that if I had it to do over, I never would have done, and I regret not taking myself seriously. You know, was I trying to be outlandish and funny? Yes, but there was a pretentiousness to it that I think was very clear in who I was, and that's something that I've thought about as I've looked back on it and kind of reflected on all of this stuff. That it's funny. It's like how, you know, now it's very obvious, but at the time you're not. You know, I just lacked a certain amount of self-awareness. But I regret not having faith in myself that I could just sit here and talk and present my ideas like this, and that would be enough. I thought I had to be over the top and outlandish like that.
Yeah, my body hair actually used to be darker. Like, my legs, I think, were probably the hairiest part. And I used to get, like, stomach hair, which I don't really get anymore. It's, like, very, very fine now. But I used to get, like, thicker and darker, like, body hair than I do. Like, when you take estrogen, one of the things is that you'll get less body hair. And that if your hairline is receded, you might find some of it comes back. Like, not all of it, but some of it.
The bathtub thing, obviously, is embarrassing.
Did this guy scam people or something? He didn't scam people. It was more that he was talking about Anita Sarkeesian an awful lot. And that seems to be the main reason that HBomberguy went after him.
But, you know, the way I look at it, if the Amazing Atheist can survive the release of a video where he was masturbating with a banana up his ass, then I can survive that. Anyway, talking about, you know, the thing I want to get into at this beat, though, is the matter of, this is where, you know, in his supposed interest in avoiding libel and defamation issues, and I want to clarify, I'm not suggesting anything of the sort on my part. I'm saying this to make an argument. But if he wants to avoid libel and defamation, he needs to not do what he just did there. When this video came out, the crowdfunder had been canceled for several weeks, and he made this video and made it sound like the crowdfunder was still going on. And I got angry letters about this from people saying, well, I thought you canceled that, and also hopeful letters from people that are like, oh my god, is it back on? And so you have a certain responsibility as a journalist to not give people that the wrong impression about things. He let them think that the crowdfunder was either still going on or had been...
Yeah, again, this is the thing. Like, if he's going to be wrong about a bunch of stuff, like, you can correct them, but what kind of effect is this even going to have? There's like a drop in the ocean. Anything wrong that HBomberguy says about this guy, people are just going to believe. They're not going to go looking for stuff like this, you know?
resurrected or was still active because of the way he talked about it, and that was not accurate. That project has now been canceled.
Oh, truly, this is a loss for the world of documentary cinema. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Even the title of this video is a deliberate lie for attention.
Again, Roberta Williams will not speak to me. The two guys from Andromeda will not speak to me. Jane Jensen will not speak to me. Jim Walls, Christy Marks, nobody will speak to me.
By Sarkeesian.
The Amazing Atheist didn't survive. Well, I mean, I think he probably did. I mean, he still probably does he make content still? Here's the thing, I never got into, what? Oh my god, she made a video about fucking Blossom. I can't remember when the banana thing was. Oh, he's called Into the Fray now. Like, he still gets some views. Looks very different how I remember. I never got into, like, atheist content.
I say to
I went through my edgy atheist phase a long time ago. And yeah, I mean, his views, like for an almost 1 million subscriber channel, the views are not brilliant. But like, when was he popular? 17 years, 9 years, 8 years. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he fell off quite a long time ago. He did a fucking Milo Stewart video. I should try and find Milo Stewart. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess he must have survived it to some extent, but like, when was the banana thing? How a banana destroyed a legacy. Also, some people do seem to think that that this kind of destroyed his whole thing. Pics of him shoving a banana up his butt. The other thing is, it's going to depend. Like, if you're doing like degenerate freak stuff, but you're kind of down with that and kind of open about that kind of shit, you might get away with it. Like, the reason I think the Harry Sisson shit kind of worked is that people like Harry Sisson like to go around presenting themselves as like woman respecters, and when it turns out not to be the case, then yeah, there's gonna be like ramifications. When was the banana thing? Oh, October 2011. I mean, that's what, 14 years ago. I think he had videos like since then that still did well. I don't know.
Sarkeesian fans killed my documentary. He means the creators of the games.
Hey, if you like the stream, make sure you check the links in my description. You can super chat via Streamlabs. You can join my Twitch. I'm monetized on that. You can join my Patreon for a few dollars a month. You can join my Discord. I think the link is correct today. You can super chat via Streamlabs. I said that already probably. And then you can buy my music. You can stream my music. I make music. You can do those things anyway.
I wanted to talk about don't like associating with mean-spirited ballbags who yell and scream at the top of their lungs at women on the internet. But to be fair, there probably wasn't enough space in
Bear in mind how much he's generalizing because of like one video as well.
the title, was there?
Okay, so this needs to be made crystal clear, because for someone who ostensibly cares about, as he put it in that other video, getting into contentious topics without committing acts of defamation or libel or slander, that kind of thing, this needs to be called out because he edited this in a very dishonest manner. Here is the actual statement I made that he edited that clip from. And Mr. Cole, Corey Cole, made a post that was humiliating, degrading, derogatory, and insulting to me. Backed out of the involvement in the production and has effectively ended the project. After his strident, unjustified, and deeply inaccurate statements, what I have been working on for 6 months now will never come to fruition. It has been made clear to me that after his statements, again, Roberta Williams will not speak to me, the two guys from Andromeda will not speak to me.
Which one do you mean, Amy?
Jane Jensen will not speak to me, Jim Walls, Christy Marks, nobody will speak to me. That without the Coles, everything falls apart. Mr. Cole's statements were based on the fact that he noticed that my previous work...
I mean, hey, I'll say one thing. If you can't get the backing of the people you need, then shit, what do, you know?
...was devoted to challenging and confronting many of the false claims and ethical mishaps of Anita Sarkeesian, of whom he is a great fan, and of whom he personally tagged in his statement against me. She is not a member of that group, so she could have only been his friend that he tagged. He said that my opinions about Sarkeesian were as bad, and I quote, as advocating rape, slavery, and genocide. Or I should say he considered my opinions to be as bad as rape, slavery, and genocide. And he said that he believed it was, not he believed, he seemed to know somehow that he believed.
Did this statement from this Corey guy, did that happen since? Was this like since HBomberguy started talking about this guy? Because I'm sure there's this Sierra effect thing. That wasn't the first time I'd even spoken about him. Yeah, it looks like a, what is it? Is it Virtual Boy? Yes, it does look like one of those, doesn't it? Yeah. The red and black things. How old is this? Well, this video is from 2019. But the original video is from 2016.
That it was, in his mind, my intention to twist and manipulate the things that he and Lori said to make them look bad and make Sierra look bad. He said it would. He said my documentary was going to be misleading and deceitful, and I believe deceitful or duplicitous was the word he used. Some other words he used like that, based on nothing other than the fact that the Sarkeesian effect existed, and he has not watched the movie, only seen the trailer.
Okay. Now
it's not going to show the dates, so I don't know when this was from. Like. So I don't know how he would have come across his stuff. Like, I don't know. All this shit, all this Gamergate shit was so fucking heated and crazy. Sounds like a drama queen. I mean, did he say that? Yeah. So after Mr. Owen's latest post here on Sierra Gamers, I followed his links to his profile and previous projects. Okay, so it might not have been to do with HBomberguy, to be clear. We're not going to know based on the date, because I think it's a Facebook post or something. It's not there. See, if he was Tommy Wiseau, this movie would have been made. Yeah, true. There's one thing he was able to do, was get a fucking ill-advised movie made, for sure. Yeah, watch the trailer for his previous documentary, The Sarkeesian Effect. In his documentary, shows a complete lack of understanding of Sarkeesian's work, uses the term social justice warrior as an epithet. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people talking about that back in the day. And generally promotes ideas that I consider as hateful as rape, slavery, genocide. Yeah, that is pretty nuts. Like, I don't remember what this guy said that was that crazy. And HBomberguy doesn't actually show very much of his actual content at all.
The rest of that is linked in the description if you want to see it. But what he is trying to do is make it look like these people just never wanted to speak to me because of my opinions, things I, grotesque or inappropriate things I had said in the past. No, that is not accurate. That is not correct. His assertion of that is a lie. What had happened was I was in touch with various go-betweens, that various liaisons to these larger people that I needed to interview, like the Coles and that kind of thing. And one of those guys was a gentleman who was working with, I don't want to say who it was specifically, but it was a former Sierra Online developer. He was working with them, and he knew all of these people. And he was going to put me in touch with all of them and set up the interviews. He was very confident he could set up the interviews and get the whole thing going. What he explained to me, was that the way it works with the old Sierra Online people, either you get everybody or you get nobody. If one of the, you have all of these major people, whether it's the Coles or Ken and Roberta Williams or the two guys from Andromeda, et cetera, all of these people, these major players, they are a family and they are a single unit. You either get all of them or you get none of them. If one of them has reservations, if one of them pulls out, the rest of them aren't going to talk to you. That's just how they are. So that was why when I was saying none of them would talk to me, that was why. I don't know if any of them ever heard about this project. I don't know if any of them ever had an opinion about this project, but that was what was imparted to me. And it was at that point that I decided that it was time to cut my losses. So anyway, I of all of the things that I have sat down and owed up to in this video and not acknowledged that I should have done differently, this is an abject lie. I'm sorry.
7.5 more MacBooks. Let's play a game. I'm going to read you a quote real quick. It's not a question of who's going to let me. It's a question of who's going to stop me. No, that's not a quote from Skeletor. That's from Jordan Owen's personal overlord, Ayn Rand. Jordan loves to pull out his Rand, if you know what I'm saying, at a moment's notice and quote her work verbatim to prove a point, because the argument from authority is totally not fallacious in the slightest. But apparently...
I mean, is this any different from, like, Philosophy Tube reading out other philosophy quotes? I don't know, man.
When Jordan read this part, he misread it as, if someone criticizes your actions, give up and whine about people stopping you. If Jordan can't even be trusted to understand the views of the one person he claims to admire the most, what does that say about his take on the people he doesn't like?
Okay, so I am not an Ayn Rand hero. And I'll tell you this, don't get me wrong, there are still a lot of things I agree with her on, and I still think she's I still think she was brilliant, I still think she's got a lot of good ideas, but I am not an Ayn Rand hero. It would be neat if I was. What I've realized in retrospect is that so much of my bravado and so much of my, what I thought was heroic individualism was actually far from it. It was, it's easy to be a heroic individualist when you have tons of
All there is left is true now. Well, it's funny you say that. That's a joke. I'm pretty sure this guy's still just a guy.
people behind you cheering you on. You don't really internalize it in that way, that it's actually just collective validation that's driving you. So that said, as far as that quote in general, well, it doesn't apply directly to this situation. Again, I don't know if he misunderstood. I have to think that he has he's not dumb. I don't think he could just.
He saw the Ayn Rand shit, and you can kind of virtue signal off that. Oh, he likes Ayn Rand, that must be a bad thing, because like his audience are gonna respond to that, you know.
Misunderstand this, but this quote, it's not referring to.
It's like if you're a libertarian version of like Philosophy Tube, yeah, you're probably gonna read like fucking Ayn Rand quotes and shit like that. I don't really see a problem with that in abstract.
It wouldn't apply to this one situation. I can't force people to talk to me if they don't want to. If they're not going to talk to me, they're not going to talk to me. The thing is, it's a question of who's going to stop me. Well, I was stopped by the people that didn't want to participate in the documentary. There you go. But the point being, that quote is actually about achieving your larger goals in life, about not giving up on what you truly want out of this life just because there are naysayers out there. And I would like to think that I still haven't given up on that goal. I still have things I want to do with this life that I'm trying to accomplish. One thing I'm working on, though, is trying to be more aware of when the so-called naysayers actually have a point. And in many cases, and like I said, the larger point here, that my acting like years of acting like a jackass provocateur on the internet ultimately worked to my downfall, is something that HBomberguy is absolutely right about, irrespective of the fact that he is very dishonest with his specific facts. You know that she says context is completely irrelevant, and that if you use if you use the tropes at all, it's bad. And that's just a very shallow interpretation.
Did you just have a moment of self-awareness? You're right, it is a shallow interpretation of what she said. You're right. A comical amount of money.
I had now acquired the ability to make a professional-looking, quality documentary film. What I have been working on.
Wonder how many like trans GoFundMes I could find that are for more than $60,000. I wonder.
For 6 months now.
That Allo interview took 6 months?
Okay, if you claim to care about journalistic ethics and avoiding defamation action, as you talked about with Legal and that kind of thing, you do not do what you just did right there. If you had been working for an actual news outlet and you did that,
Yes, we're getting mad. This is what we need. This is what we need. Stop appeasing. No one's watching anyway, and you had to turn the comments off. You might as well.
You would have been fired. You accused, first of all, you tried to be a mind reader. You put words in my mouth and acted like you knew something about what I was thinking when you clearly didn't. And then you attached it to something that I was not referring to in the original statement. I was not referring to the Al Lowe interview when I said 6 months. No, the Al Lowe interview did not.
Sort of a Randian PT. Is there anything more objectionable? I don't know. Normal Philosophy Tube comes close, to be clear. What was it? The victims of like witch trials were the early like anti-capitalists or some shit. That was pretty special.
It takes 6 months. It took a weekend. But I had put together a group of people that I was working with on this project because I wanted to have a larger group of people than just myself and one other person to make this project, and people who actually knew something about what was going on here. And we had been talking about it in the planning stages of this for months before and after getting that footage. It was still sometime after the footage was collected that we put the whole video presentation together, got everything set up with the Kickstarter. We had been on that for 6 months, as you know, in the planning stages and implementation stages of that. That is what I was referring to. That is unbelievably dishonest.
There's a lot of great moments of silent reflection in this video. He just sort of doesn't say anything for a while and looks like he's about to realize something about himself. People saw the things I said and wrote on the internet, and now they don't want to work with me, and this is everybody's fault but mine.
It's like having Walt Disney call you an asshole.
Now, personally, if Walt Disney, noted racist and fan of Hitler, called me an asshole, I would think of that as a compliment, but
I was not making a political.
That is so fucking soy, man.
Statement with that, and you know it. All I was talking about was that Corey Cole's work was something that I had grown up with. Quest for Glory, those games, that was something that I had grown up with, and it hurt me.
Yeah, sorry, Amy, I've just re-triggered you. I do apologize.
Personally, to be denounced by somebody whose work I had grown up with and who I looked up to in that regard. I was only using Walt Disney as an example of a beloved children's entertainer. Swap it out with Mr. Rogers or Charles Schultz or whatever makes more sense.
Yeah, there's an extent to which it didn't matter what he said. HBomberguy decides he doesn't like you. He's going to find anything he can and twist it any way he wants in order to get like dunks on you. And people aren't going to give a shit about you coming in after the fact to clarify what you actually meant. Unfortunately, it sucks.
Sense to you. Also, while I'm not going to do a video trying to look into the validity of the accusations of racism and Nazi sympathies and all that with Walt Disney. What I am going to say is this, Harris. You have a good video on your channel talking about H.P. Lovecraft, whose work you appear to appreciate a great deal. H.P. Lovecraft, it was not even that there were rumors of racism. He himself was a loud and proud, open, flagrant, flaming, screaming racist on no uncertain terms. And I'm not going to act like that rubs off on you somehow, Harris.
Why would anyone look up to HBomberguy? Well, he has that veneer of justified, like, you know, it gives people to be mad at who apparently have done bad things or said bad things or are somewhat objectionable. I don't know.
Look, I consider myself a libertarian. I've got some things, there's some things over here I agree with, there's some things over here I agree with. And just because I've been very, very critical of people on one side, especially as regards this movie, the first documentary I tried to make, does not mean that I deserve to be put into this category of political extremism. I know what I believe, I know what I don't believe. If you want my opinion on a specific subject...
Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, this guy, like, he's been, like, railing about Trump and stuff like that recently. A lot of HBomberguy's targets are, like, kind of in some way extreme in their behavior or their beliefs or something. Like this Jordan Owen guy, I think it was, like, massively out of proportion to what this guy is actually about and what it was that he actually did, you know what I mean? And, like, I don't know if he's going to get much into the harassment. I think there's other videos that I've watched or seen bits of that I don't know if they're up anymore, which is frustrating because I've been wanting to look at this for quite a long time. But I don't know. There's still plenty to work with, you know.
Subject, ask me and I'll give it to you. But spare me acting
like everyone else at the time. That's a very good point, yeah.
Like I'm some kind of political...
Also, hi, Knack Trevi.
...extremist.
Instead, Jordan Owens decided to try and court mainstream success by opening a Patreon.
Get me up to $100 per video on @Patreon so I can hashtag game review, hashtag StarFox0, patreon.com/JordanOwen42, hashtag crowdfunding, hashtag AimDefet.
Holding reviews for ransom. Well, he's giving it's a goal. It's like a... it's so cringe. Like, a lot of... HBomberguy makes some good points about Jordan Owen in his video. But some of this shit is, like, it's tiny. It's like... This is, like, nothing. This is a nothing criticism. Isn't this kind of normal? Like, Patreon goals? That kind of shit?
Okay, I feel like, by the way, I need to reiterate something. In the previous bump, I had said that was not what I meant, and you know it. I know that I had just gone on about how you shouldn't try to put words in people's mouth or state what they believe if they haven't stated it. The reason I say "and you know it" is because he saw the original clip that I was referring to. He knows why I brought Walt Disney up. Anyway, I want to stop on this point right here because understand, when I say this, I don't understand what the problem was with what I did there. And I'm not saying that ironically, I'm not saying that sarcastically, I'm not saying it rhetorically.
The problem is you caught the ire of this guy and now he's going to find any tiny thing that he can needle over and stick the boot in over, irrespective of whether it matters an inch, irrespective of whether that might actually just be normal fucking behavior. I don't know.
I'm legitimately saying I don't understand it. And you can feel free, anybody who gets it can feel free to explain it to me. First of all, it accuses me of holding reviews of popular games for ransom. It was an incentive. On Patreon, you offer incentive, tiers of incentives so that if somebody, if we reach...
I don't. If you sign up for my Patreon, you kind of get fuck all, but I don't know, man. I'll work on it. Maybe in the future, my Patreon will be better.
This donation tier, we can start to do this. If we reach this donation tier, we can start to do this, etc., etc. I put that as a reward tier for my Patreon because I was trying to get going on game reviews, and I thought Star Fox Zero would have been popular enough that would have been a good incentive for people. I don't understand why you call it holding it for ransom. That makes no sense.
Because he's just needling you at this point.
Sense to me. I don't get it. And I don't get why that's a violation of ethics in journalism. I don't understand that. And it irritates me that I don't understand it. And the reason I bring that up is because I've alluded to in this video that this has been very much an ongoing process for me. This has been a process of for years now, swallowing my pride, falling on my sword, and looking back and trying to acknowledge where people actually did have legitimate criticisms of me. And trying to grow from...
You may take this kind of criticism serious, you're fucked. Only decent reply for criticism this petty in ill world is to ridicule, laugh, mock, and make it into a joke. Well, the thing is, I'm pretty sure this guy got, like, fucking pilloried because of these videos that HBomberguy made. I'm pretty sure like HBomberguy's fans like went after this guy kind of in a similar manner to how they go after someone like James Somerton. And it's probably way worse now because he's a bigger creator, you know? And like what James Somerton did was like far worse than what this guy did, you know?
From that and trying to move on from it. With that in mind, I'm stuck on this. I don't get it. Do you get it? I don't get it. I don't. And if somebody could explain this to me, I would really appreciate it. Because it's like, I get castigated for doing what Patreon is set up to do, trying to offer an...
Yeah, that's not the actual problem he has with Jordan Owen. That's just, at a certain point, the gloves are off and everything is on the table because you've decided that this person is a bad person and a worthy target. There are no bad tactics, just bad targets. You know what I mean? And someone like Jordan Owen, I feel like what this guy actually did to get the kind of shit that he got was not much. You know what I mean? It really wasn't anything like what it was being perceived as or being presented as, should I say.
An incentive to get people to donate.
Oh, God of the Sea. I'm watching Jordan Owen. He was one of... Do you know HBomberguy? He's one of HBomberguy's early targets. This guy got, like, pilloried for being against Gamergate. Or for being against Anita Sarkeesian, should I say. Against the SJWs or whatever. Anyway, I hope you could...
To my Patreon. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And it's frustrating that I don't. I wish I did. Every video that you see from me constitutes at least a day's worth of work.
At least a day's worth of... It took a day to film yourself talking to a camera for 20 minutes? Do you live in a black hole? Do you experience time dilation?
Well, if it wasn't clear enough what I meant, what I was referring to was the actual production videos where I actually do these large-scale responses or things with a lot of graphics and things with a lot of production time. That said, it's not like any of this happens on the first take. It's not like any of this just happens instantly. I mean, this video, which has been fairly simple, I started working on it at 1 o'clock. It's now almost 4 o'clock. So I've been at it for 4 hours just working on this, and I don't have time to finish it now. I'm going to have to come back and do the rest of it later. But anyway, it is what it is.
This isn't real, how is it?
So far, I've made about $2,000 in sales of the Sarkeesian effect. Laugh it up if you want.
No, I don't think I will, thank you. I don't need permission to laugh at you, fascist. Although, to be fair, it's pretty funny.
Also, there's an additional personal reason, which is that I would like...
Yeah, we're not kind of getting off on someone's failure at a certain point. It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Very much to spend Christmas with somebody. They know who they are.
Don't worry, Jordan. We all know who that is.
And I'll tell you right now, my favorite dancer at my favorite club is Molly at Tattletales. Go look her up and you'll find out why.
When a libertarian masturbates to completion, does that technically make their dick a fountainhead?
He's not racist to say different groups of people have variations in facial expressions. Yeah, I'd say so.
Don't worry, Jordan. I started taking Patreon seriously in December, and look where it got me. Oh. Speaking of money, noted mass murderer Anita Sarkeesian's company, Feminist Frequency, likes to feminist frequently release PDF documents explaining what they did with all their money and the general state of their financials. They even have cute little pie charts and graphs showing you visually where all the money went. I'm yet to see JO42 Productions release any kind of documentation about where $54,000+ went making that film. Where did all the money go?
Okay, so we would have the error that he's making, either intentionally or unintentionally, I don't know. But the error in his argument here is that we did not receive $54,000 in one lump sum. If we had, we would have been able to do things very differently. Instead, we got between $7,500 and about $9,000 every month, depending.
It's much funnier when Jello Biafra called people fascists in the 80s. I'm not familiar. It's not as funny now. Well, yeah, it's not as funny now because everyone fucking does it. I mean, at least this is an older video that he's talking about, but I don't know. The word fascist has lost all meaning, so...
on who was contributing on any given month. And so let's say, for example, that we had $8,000 in 1 month to work with. So we were filming for about 2 weeks out of each month. And that would cost us, the travel and everything associated with the travel would cost about $4,000. I say that because it was about $2,000 per location. So you had flights you had all of the flights to take into consideration, and then you had the hotels, rental car, that sort of thing. You had all of that to take into consideration, plus food, plus the the miscellaneous expenditures, gasoline, that kind of thing along the way. And so to do 2 weeks of filming, we generally...
The thing, like I keep saying, this guy got like pilloried. Like HBomberguy's followers like fucking went after this guy, like hardcore. So he probably feels like it is serious. You know what I mean? I don't know the Dead Kennedys. I know of the Dead Kennedys. I know that they have a song called Nazi Punks Fuck Off. I also don't listen to that much punk music. I'm more like post-hardcore and like emo and stuff. Oh, hi DZD, going after HBomberguy. Well, ish, listen. I'm just interested in like the testimonies from his early victims, I guess, because I saw the James Somerton shit again recently. James Somerton's back and being stalked again. You know, I mean, it's of interest to me.
It would generally cost us about $4,000 a month just for that. Then from that, we would each after that we would each take $1,500 each, because we had to pay rent and bills and some have food money in that time, because we were both taking time off from day jobs to go do the filming. So that cost about $1,500 each. Again, that sounds like a lot, but that's actually just about $1,000 for your rent, and then here's $500 to pay bills and eat on. So there was that as well. That already put.
I mean, I don't know why does he even owe an explanation of like his finances and stuff? I don't know, man.
Puts you at $7,000. Then there would be there were equipment purchases that we had to make as well. That camera that you showed earlier in the video cost, as I recall, cost $1,300. So things like that would happen. Anything that was left over would roll over to the next month. And because I was at the end of the whole thing, I ultimately used the few $1,000s that were remaining. I say few, it was about $3,000 that were remaining at the end of the production cycle to pay my own rent while I took care of finishing editing the movie. And that's where the money went. I didn't make a whole lot off of it. At the end of the once it actually came out, I didn't make a whole lot of money off of it, and that was what happened. It's not something, the movie as a result, the resulting movie, it's not something that I'm proud of at all. Like I said, people have written to me and said that they liked it and they really appreciated it, and I am grateful for that. I like that. I appreciate that you enjoyed it, and it means a lot to me to hear that. But it just is not. Harlan Ellison used the example that it's like you climb a mountain of cow shit to get to a single solitary rose at the summit, and by the time you get to it, you've lost your sense of smell. That's what it was for me. It's weird because there were so many great life experiences that I had as a result of making the movie. I got to meet a lot of fascinating people. I got to travel to a lot of interesting places, and I got to I got to live for a time in my life as a professional filmmaker. I know professional in quotes, but as far as it being funded and having this project happen, a lot of stuff like that was really cool. But as far as everything else, it's no accident that I now look older than I actually am. I mean, the stress of it was unbelievable, and there were also a lot of lessons I learned, life lessons I learned in doing that, that I had to learn the hard way. So the rest of this video is mainly just him signing off, so I won't go into any depth on it there. But in summary, I wanted to say, I actually, when this video came out, I actually tried, HBomberguy and I talked privately on Skype for a while. And my goal was to try to convince him at the time, that, look, I'm legitimately not the person you're making me out to be, and I wish I didn't care what other people think, but it turns out I do. And it's just something that I've thought about a lot, because like I said, it's funny. I actually like his content. I liked parts of this video. His demeanor is immensely watchable. The fake laughter got to be a little much, but his demeanor is immensely watchable. His performance is very watchable. He does good content and good videos. And so it's always been something that stayed with me because it is, because it's well done, and because it's well done, it's very penetrating, and it stays with me because of that. So I wanted to take the opportunity to speak to that directly. And that's not something that's been easy for me. I'm not kidding when I say it's taken me 3+ years to get to the point where I felt ready to talk about it. It's funny, I deeply regret everything that I put myself through and put everybody around me through in making that, trying to make that movie. But I would not trade the person I am now for having not made it. What was interesting about, I used the example that when you hit rock bottom, what happens when you acknowledge that you've hit rock bottom, what happens is the floor drops away from you and you have to fall another 10 stories, because now you get to look back and look at fully realize and embrace all of your failures. I don't want to go into all of those here because a lot of that is personal and it's not anybody's business, but the course I've been on in my life, after it was all done, after the dust cleared, after this and everything, I took a lot of time to try to pull back and get comfortable as just...
Yeah, I seem to remember him talking about, talking to HBomberguy. I don't know if that's on a different video. And that, I don't know, he's not going into much about the harassment and stuff like that, but I definitely remember hearing some stuff about it.
Just me. Because a big problem in my character was that growing up, I was convinced I was going to be somebody big. Kind of like if you listen to the Wasp song, I Want to Be Somebody, that was pretty much my soundtrack. I had tremendous ambition, and I was blinded by that ambition, hence the love of Ayn Rand, which has been hovering over my shoulder this whole time. But hence the love of Ayn Rand. But
yeah, by the time this came out, I'm pretty sure he was quite bald.
When I hit rock bottom and I had to stop, I decided I was going to rip open the circuitry and just reevaluate everything. And it's been years of reevaluating. What I can say is that what I am proud of in that time is that I have discovered a real joy in the people around me that I didn't acknowledge before because I was completely fixated on my own trajectory in life. I've learned to appreciate the people around me. And I've had some wonderful people in my life in that time that I feel like I can finally appreciate for the first time, like I finally learned how to appreciate them. I have learned and found the immense joy in doing right by other people and working to genuinely make other people's lives better. I don't mean just like donating to a charity and feel good about yourself, but actually work with somebody to make their lives better in a real and meaningful way. I found
his mum told him he was smarter than anyone else. Yeah, quite possibly.
An inner sense of peace that is not always there because I do still have issues that I struggle with, but I've found that, and I've got.
Then in a sense, if you're doing this kind of content in the first place, and I fully include myself in this, are you not kind of doing that a little bit? Are you not kind of putting yourself out as like the smart one or whatever shit, or at least smarter than some other people that also do this?
Gotten in touch with that. That is very important to me. And you know, it's funny, it's scary to say it, but it's also empowering to say that is my operating motive force now. And I'm grateful for that. And if it took the horrible failure and humiliation that was the Sarkeesian effect to get me to that point, then I'm grateful for it. I know that I'm sure there are people watching this with a sense of like a second shoe about to drop, like, you know, oh, he's trying to clear the path for a new crowdfunder, he's got something that works. I assure you I don't. So that whole thing, you know, crowdfunding is not something I want any part of. The big question arises, I alluded to this earlier, do I know what it's like to be Anita Sarkeesian? So I will answer that as honestly as I can. I can't literally know what it's like to be Anita Sarkeesian. Obviously, no one can, objectively.
I didn't trust people who say they have a high IQ, as you shouldn't. Yeah, if someone's going around saying they have a high IQ, there's probably a reason for that.
Have another person's experience of the world. To this day, she does not strike me as a trustworthy individual. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. It has nothing to do with her being of any ethnic minority.
I like the sound change there.
To this day, she does not strike me as a trustworthy individual. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. It has nothing to do with her being of any ethnic minority or anything like that, or any stereotype or anything like that. It has everything to do with her actions. However, I do see where the Venn diagram overlaps. And she and I think ran into some of the same problems with crowdfunding that I've alluded to in this video. That the backers are not shareholders. They don't get to come in and dictate how the production is done. That is one problem, trying to deal with the backers. Things like that. There are inherent problems that I held against her in the past that I can't hold against her anymore because I experienced.
And I guess your backers are like customers. You got to keep them happy. The customer is king. But at the same time, you probably get people that, like, because they back something, they think that they own part of it, or they think that they should have some kind of say in what goes on when, I don't know, you're just crowdfunding someone's vision. But hey, listen, like, crowdfunding seems like a fucking minefield. I don't know what it would take for me to, like, consider, like, crowdfunding something, but at this time, I can't imagine ever wanting to go down that route for anything ever.
Them as well. There is, when I think about the amount of personal reflection that I have done in the aftermath of all of this and becoming a better.
HBomberguy is a troll who's found appropriate targets. Like, yeah, he's left-wing growth and all that, but for the most part, he's still the same guy from his past. Well, yeah, that's the thing. He, like, ran with Metaker and was like an internet bully, and it kind of seems like he does the same kind of shit. Just, you know, we've got acceptable targets. And then we see people like James Somerton, who every time they try and do anything, people track him down and, like, fucking try and bury him again. And it's like, you wonder what his fans think that some of these people should do. Like, someone like, I'm sure Jordan Owen probably hasn't had shit from them for years, but, like, he certainly will have done. He'll have certainly had his fair share of, like, shit from HBomberguy fans based on these videos that they make some good points, but they're not necessarily very fair in how they represent him, you know what I mean?
fuller person because of it. I will say that if she has had that same level of reflection, she is now a better person for it, and good on her. What I see though is things like, recently there was some grumblings recently because of the pitch that she did to CD Projekt Red, where she tried to, it sounded like she was basically trying to coerce them into hiring her as a consultant on their project, and everybody, that was the response to it. I read the comments, the response to the tweet that she made, and that was everybody's responses. It sounds like you're trying to extort them for money. It sounds like you're trying to shivvy them, that kind of thing. I'm going to say, though, that that's just how it sounds, and she may just not be very good at this. There was a time when I would have bit into that red meat as hard as I could and said that she was trying to strong-arm them. I readily admit that, because ultimately some of my acknowledgments in this will come down to the answer if I got in over my head and I didn't really know what I was doing. I have to extend that to her as well, that she may just be in over her head and not know what she's doing. That's the best I can say. I feel like there's been a feeling for years now that if I could just get myself to that point where I fully could just fall on my knees and say, I get it, I understand it now, I'm so sorry. I feel like if I could say that, there would be this boot taken off of my neck, and I could start to feel like a human being again. I can't honestly say that. But I can say that so much of my guiding actions and my interpretation of events was guided by a foregone conclusion that I had that was drawn out of my own hubris and my own arrogance. It's easy to say that now, but you have no idea what it took to get me to that point. Anyway, hopefully I've made some sense. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. To Harris, if you would like to, I've alluded to this before, but if you would like to converse privately or even publicly, I'd be happy to sit down with you.
Pretty sure this never happened. He's definitely mentioned more about like some of the conversations he had. There's other things.
Live stream or something like that. If you would like to do that, I would be more than amenable to it.
I think what's annoying though, I'm sure there's some stuff that might not be up anymore, but hey.
With the intention, with the understanding that we're sitting down to speak as gentlemen. But anyway, thank you for watching. Take care.
Yeah, so it didn't end there. There was a lot more. We're not going to watch every single thing, but I don't know. I'm just interested in this whole thing. So we've got another message to HBomberguy. Again, I mean, the likes they're a bit more proportionate. Comments turned off again. You have to wonder what's going on when the comments are turned off. Probably he's getting pilloried. But I don't know. It was definitely stuff about like harassment. I wonder if he's going to get onto it at some point. Hopefully. I might be wasting all of your time, but I don't know. You watch a self-indulgent fuck like me, then that's kind of on you. I'm sorry. That's a joke. But make sure you like the stream and check the links in my description. Anyway, so we've got another message to HBomberguy. This won't take like super long. It's we're speeding up a bit. So yeah.
So there's been a renewed amount of interest in the disaster that was my life 5 years ago. And it seems to all be stemming from...
Just to be clear, this is from June 2020. So like a year-ish after the... When was this? October 2019. It's like 9 months after the last video.
A recent video, of course, that HBomberguy did, where he went back and did a retrospective on... his earlier videos, and of course the very first one that he did was commenting on the documentary I was trying to make. And I know, Harris, by the way, Harris, you will notice that I signed up for your Patreon as a Patreon backer. That was so that I could watch the video. I'm not going to try to cheat the system. I will give you a month of Patreon support too.
Yeah, I've not heard of this video he's talking about, so I guess it must be paywalled. Yeah, I don't know. Is he holding his content for ransom? It's interesting how he can do that, but would complain about Jordan Owen doing the same thing.
Make it even. But anyway, Harris, I know that it's only a matter of time before, as you're doing these retrospectives, before you get around to your utterly damning video on my failed Sierra project. And I hope you will, I sent you a very personal letter on Twitter. I don't know if you ever saw it or if you ever read it. I hope that you would. I hope when you make that video, you would take into account what I said in that.
How are we not mocking some dude who spends his time going back 5 years to nitpick old irrelevant stuff for a living? Well, is it irrelevant? Like, this was a big thing. Like, those videos got millions of views. And he felt the force of it. Like, he got a lot of shit for it. You know what I mean? This would have, like, affected his life, like, tremendously. It would have been very stressful. And also... isn't that kind of what I'm doing? HBomberguy obviously needs to stop masturbating, get out more. Well, I don't know, man. He's loaded. He can do what the fuck he wants at this point, really. Does one video a year and gets insane views on it. Probably makes a shit ton on Patreon, you know.
That letter, what I'm trying to say here. The person that I was portraying myself as in my earlier blogging incarnation.
Like, we see this pathological need to be understood. And it's kind of tough. Like, I kind of relate to it in a way, and it's something I think I'm better at nowadays. But, like, when someone gets you wrong in your opinion and gets shit tons of views off of it, and it affects your life, it's like, you might feel like you need to relitigate it constantly. Or if I just make one more video, I might say the right thing that might fucking convince people. But, you know, it is what it is, ultimately. There's not much you can do, like, with this kind of thing.
Was two things. It was a conscious and deliberate attempt on my part to overplay myself for comedic value and try to be funny. But it was also
you can say he's a patty wiener. He's probably he's probably had it all before, to be fair.
A person who was caught up in this demonic force that is YouTube pseudo fame. And you talk about in your video the weird wild experience where that video you made went viral, and suddenly you woke up to 30,000 views on your video, and it's, you know, went shooting up and shooting up and shooting up. And I can relate to that. And you're gonna think, yeah, I'm looking down. You're gonna say I'm looking at notes or something. I'm not. I assure you, it's just a guitar effects processor. But I can relate to that feeling. I mean, I remember when I got to the level of YouTube notoriety that I could put up a video and it would instantly get the 301 plus views, because it would just instantly have more than 300 people looking at it as soon as it went up. And it's a similar feeling. And it's weird.
You know, I should do that. I should just look over here. Oh, sorry, I'm not looking over here at my notes. I'm looking at my Gibson Les Paul Custom that totally doesn't have something else written on the headstock, because it's not a real Gibson anyway.
Because I see in you a great deal of that. And, you know, that over-the-top self-aggrandizement, and the best I can say is I hope you have a better sense of self than I did now than I did at the time. It seems like you do. But, I wish to God there were a way you could understand so many things, Harris.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, it's tough. I relate to this on the one hand. On the other hand, how many times, how much effort should you spend trying to get someone to understand something that they apparently didn't understand the first time and might never understand? And I don't know. I mean, I've never had someone big make like a video about me where they've got a bunch of my stuff wrong. I don't know how I deal with that, honestly. It's tough.
When you made that Sierra video, trying to make the Sierra documentary was an act of redemption, personal redemption for me. I wanted to show everybody that you know, left to my own devices, I actually could turn in a decent documentary. I wanted to do something that was positive rather than negative. I had lived for spent like a year and a half of my life in this unbelievably toxic, negative environment. And I wanted to come back with something positive, and it blew up in my face. And that point has been a fundamental shift in my life, Harris. I was never the same after that. And, you know, that happened, and then you came along with your video at just the right time. Just the right time to salt the wound. And I'm not the same person that I was. I've gotten a lot more careful, a lot wiser, a lot more reserved, a lot more paranoid, a lot more depressed. But all of the color and all of the passion and all of the joy of my life got sucked out when that video came along. If it had not been for that, I would have been able to move on with my life much.
You see what I mean? This had a profound effect on him. Like, you can agree or disagree as to whether it should or shouldn't have, but this is what happened ultimately. And for someone making a video like that, you gotta kind of consider that. I mean, I don't know what effect anything that I make would have on someone else. I mean, I've spoken to the odd person that I've made videos about. And it's kind of, it's tough, you know, like I want to criticize people. I don't want to like lie about them or like ruin their life or anything like that. And I don't think that I have that power, but yeah, I don't know. It's just tough, man.
More easily. But for the last 5 years, what happens is people read what I've written, they hear music that I've recorded, and if they tell me they like it, and they want to come over and shake my hand and everything.
I don't know. It's one of the reasons I stopped talking to progressives that were constantly arguing bad faith, try and take the worst interpretation, ridicule asking me to justify. I mean, I think that's probably more of an ideologue thing than like a progressive thing, but I've certainly experienced that from like progressive types as well. Like I had like trans friends from back in the day. I'd say something like that I think the Hogwarts Legacy boycott is fucking stupid, or that actually the cast review makes a lot of good points, and that's enough to set some people off. And it's like I said, I used to be like that as well, where I'd, because I felt like they're misinterpreting me and not really engaging what I'm actually saying, I like really, really try and like explain my points and like try and appease these people in a sense without, just cucking out or whatever. But it was like, there was no point. Like if these people decide they don't like you, it doesn't matter. Like we saw that with his videos and stuff. Like we saw that with HBomberguy picking out some extremely like dumb points to like go at this guy for. And it's like, well, I don't think there's any intention of like actually seeing eye to eye with you, unfortunately. And it's tough. Yesterday's Sunny V2, what did he make a video about? I mean, content nukes are like in right now, I guess. Everyone likes doing them. Hang on, what's he called? What was his recent video about? Yesterday's. I didn't see it. Did it not hit well? Was it not something people liked? Did he hide it? I don't know.
All I think is I'm not as cool as you think I am. You have no idea how big of a loser I am. You need to go watch this video by HBomberguy and find out what a loser I am. And this is something that I talk about with my therapist on a regular basis. And I know if you did a response to this commentary I'm doing now, you would say,
yeah, we're like still on it. But then we only have so much of the picture. Like I said, I have a feeling, and I'm pretty sure I've seen him like allude to this kind of thing, that like some of HBomberguy's fans like really went after him over this. And you see the same pattern with people like James Somerton,
Jordan, why would you admit something like that? And it's after a point, it's like, well, what have I got to lose? Exactly. I mean, at the one redeeming thing I can do with my life at this point is be as authentic and honest and real as I possibly can. So what have I got to lose? I'm going to get laughed at by a bunch of people in your contingent. I already get that. But yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, I had a big show at a venue up in Woodstock, Georgia. And, I get there early, load everything in. I'd worked on this show for like 3 months. I was really excited about it. Well, in the abstract, I was excited about it, but there's this gnawing voice inside. And I went across the street from the venue. There's a little diner called the Copper Coin.
Oh, yesterday's HBomberguy. Oh, yesterday's Sunny V2. I understand now. Yeah.
And I remember sitting
Danglish. That's funny.
There with my, egg and bacon or sausage sandwich or whatever it was, and my tea, and just sitting there looking back across the street at the venue and thinking, I have been working on this for months. I feel absolutely nothing. Because the thing that defines me is this video. That's it. And I won't lie to you, Harris. All it takes is one shit comment from one of your viewers, and it ruins my day. Completely ruins my day. And I've been working on it for 5 years, man. Every day is a struggle to live with the knowledge of the loser that I was back then. And you don't know the half of it, man. I was getting pulled apart in every direction.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So like he would have got so much shit over all of this. And it's tough, like people should be able to criticize each other. But how often do these content creators think about how they might have a bunch of fans go and give this person a load of shit that they probably don't deserve, based on the things you've said, some of which really aren't necessarily very fair.
You know, there were matters with the production that I can't discuss, but it's a blank everyone can fill in.
Maybe you're in the wrong business if one comment ruins your day. Well, I mean, I don't know, it's tough because this guy was around for a decent while when this came up. It definitely seems like something happened out of the ordinary. Because, I mean, I don't know, I get shitty comments from people all the time. I make videos about people like Jammy Dodger, and people come to my videos and say all kinds of dumb shit. It doesn't matter to me, but, like, I don't know how I'd be if, like, every time I did anything, I'd have a bunch of people from one of those kind of communities or whatever coming after me saying a bunch of shit. Like, I mean, I've never dealt with that kind of hate on that level, you know. Nux Taki would have made 10 hours of troll content with an HBomberguy nuke video. Yeah. There probably were better ways this guy could have dealt with it, but then I don't know. Everyone's going to respond to this kind of thing differently. That's the other thing. Some people are more resilient than others. Some people can just flip it around on other people and, well, you know, whatever. Some people can thrive off of being hated, but not everyone's like that, you know?
And then there were, then there was, you know, the right-wing attack on my my reputation, which was to call me an incel loser that couldn't possibly get laid and could never compete could never attain the level of masculine renown that was reached by someone like Roosh V.
Oh, I can't. We're talking about Jordan Owen and HBomberguy. If you're looking for like trans tent today, then today's probably not the day. Yeah, I got a hate video. That was from someone with like 50 subscribers though. What I mean is like someone much bigger does a video and then I constantly have an influx everything I'm doing, which is what I'm guessing happened here. We've only ever alluded to it. But like constantly hearing about something for like years and years after, I don't truly know how bad it can get. You know what I mean? All I've had is fucking Max from the Queer Gossip or Trans in the Mouth or whatever they've called. Like making death threats at me and shit like that, which like, I don't know, what the fuck's he gonna do? Is that what they're called now? I can't remember. Oh my god, Sky made a video about that Marcy Reintgen person. I really want to watch a couple of the interviews. I have a feeling that Marcy Reintgen person is a bit of a grifter. It seems a bit like the woke trans version of someone like Maya Poet in a way. But I need to look into it more, to be clear. Yeah, these people made a video about me as well. Because I had a debate with them, and it was a bit of a mess. And then they made another like response to it years later. Where was it? Have they taken it down? Yes, it was this one. No, they haven't taken it down. Listen, I'm not trying to slander them. They're not being pussies about it. But yeah, this video, they reacted to that whole fucking debate. And this Max guy is like telling me that he hopes I die and that I should kill myself and stuff. Like absolutely crazy. But the only hate I get is from like shitter channels, like 30 subscribers, you know what I mean? I think I was their 17th subscriber almost a year ago. So I don't know what the full like force of like some fandom coming after me is like, is what I'm trying to say.
There was that coming in, and that, you know, that digs into, I think, the insecurity that we all have about, all men at least have, about not being as popular with the opposite sex as they would like to be, and that includes even the pickup artists that score with 200 or 300 women. So there was that, and then there was the left-wing thing in the public discussion, ripping my guts out.
Yeah, I think ultimately, if someone did come after me and it had lasting effects, it probably would be fine. Like, I just don't care about how people... I don't care how people perceive me. I don't really care what people say about me the way that I used to. I think if I was doing this like 5 years ago, I probably would have ended up in this kind of situation. I do find this very relatable, but I don't know how much I'm like this anymore, which is a good thing. And I mean, this guy is like... I think there is an extent to which... over the time he spent talking about this, he has like come to terms with it at least. So yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. It's interesting seeing the fallout and the effect it has on someone, because I think this shit's still happening because of HBomberguy. I think that he kind of, well, he's causing far worse because James Somerton like threatened to kill himself and like has tried to reserve us multiple times and been like harangued every single time. You know what I mean? Like for clarity, I don't know how many people were watching earlier on. I watched part of a Child Logic thing. Like that James Somerton guy was caught plagiarizing. He's trying to be a wedding photographer now. And what it seems like is that these HBomberguy fans, some of them, they're like looking this guy up constantly so they can find any trace of him, so that they can then like fucking rebury him all over again. And it gets to a point where it's like, well, what do you want these people to do? Like, do you want them to just fucking, I don't know, will they be happy like while he's still alive, while he's trying to, James Somerton, so he got caught plagiarizing like loads of shitty like queeroid essays. Got caught by HBomberguy. It was a big thing about it in a video. Since then, he's like tried to come back in various different ways, including most recently, he's like trying to be a wedding photographer. And people found his like website where he's trying to be a wedding photographer and were like review bombing him and like going after him all over again. And to me, it's getting to a point where it's like, well, this guy doesn't seem like he can do literally anything. Like he tries to start a business or whatever, doing something that isn't really like internet related, doesn't really have anything to do with video essay shit. You know what I mean? And like, now he didn't take his own life. No, he claimed he was going to, or claimed that he did, which is not cool. But yeah, this is what I mean. It's like everything he does now, people are going to be stalking him and like looking him up and like trying to fuck with him. I think that's a bit crazy. And when these kind of communities, they're supposed to be all like woke and leftist and like, you know, caring about what's right and good, it kind of seems like when they find someone that they can hate, that's kind of when they come alive, you know. And it's a bit fucked up, in my opinion.
And in 5 years, I have never been able to regain the confidence that I had. I have never been able to regain the sense of purpose that I had. I have never been able to regain any of that. I just lived.
This is what I mean. This was a guy that experienced something similar, and like it seems to have completely destroyed him, which sucks. I mean, I'm not here to like laugh at some guy that's down bad because someone made a video about him. You know, it's not about that.
With the knowledge of what a loser I am, and people tell me, oh, but you can't let other people decide what. You can't let other people decide who you are. You have to be your own person. Fuck that. I thought it was a good idea to major in music in school and go into music, and what do I have to show for it?
Yep, I'm exactly the same. Fucking waste of time. Should have done literally anything else. Your headphones are working anti-trans. Right now. What game do I stream? I just watch things on the internet. Thanks for subscribing, though.
I'm almost 37 years old. I have a shit couch that's torn up that I can't afford another. I can't afford another one. You know, I'm surrounded.
Listen, I'm at least glad. Like. Fucking hell, he would have been my age when these videos are coming out, like my age now. Like, Jesus Christ, I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm used to people not always liking me. Maybe someone like this, they hadn't really taken that much shit until HBomberguy. It might have been kind of a shock. I don't know, man. Like, I used to get very bothered about people getting me wrong when it's like, well, I think you're just misinterpreting me. And like, you're kind of, you don't like me because of something that if you understood better, maybe you would like me. And I used to kind of care about that kind of stuff. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here, unfortunately.
Surrounded by, surrounded by classmates from high school that are all pulling in, 6 figures now because they had the very bright idea to go become lawyers and doctors and all of that stuff. And at 36, I'm still trying to figure my life out, still trying to get things together. And I know it comes back to, oh, but you can't compare yourself to other people. Tell that to someone that didn't know Donald Glover.
I think it's a bit natural to compare yourself to other people. It's not always a good idea. You can certainly drive yourself insane doing so. It doesn't mean you should always like avoid doing that necessarily. If you're doing something very different to what every other person is doing, maybe that could be a cause of concern sometimes.
Tell that to someone that didn't know Donald Glover in high school.
You knew Donald Glover? That's crazy. I was a big Derek comedy fan. Most people know Derek Glover, I guess from, was it Community he was in or something like that? Or is like Childish Gambino? I remember Derek comedy. I don't know what I can show on my stream because some of their skits were fucking nuts, but holy shit, that's kind of cool though.
And this is off the cuff. This is, I'm sure, another disaster, another embarrassing failure. All I know how to do is make embarrassing failures. And you know, when I say that, I know that my regular viewers are going to want to come in and say, oh, well, I like this thing, this music that you did, or I like this writing that you did, or I like this, that, or the other. That's great. That's all well and good. I'm glad you liked it. I don't want to take that away from you by my defeatist attitude. I don't want that to take away your enjoyment from it. But it doesn't do anything to lift me up.
I don't need the mindless hordes. That is true.
I will, you know, I will always just be defined by this video and the knowledge that I gave you a career.
DJ Lance from Yo Gabba Gabba. I don't know if I know who that is. This guy here? Oh wow, that's crazy. Wait, he's 60. I thought you were like... I don't know, I didn't think you were that much older than me. Crazy. That's awesome. I don't know if anyone I went to school with is famous now. I've yet to hear of anyone. Oh, you watch cow hoof stuff. I watch some of that kind of stuff. I really enjoy that kind of thing.
Very successful. You have, what, over 8,000 patrons? If every one of them is giving you $1 a month, you're making $80,000 a year. But it looks like your minimum backer reward tier is $2, so it's probably closer to $160,000 a year that you have because of me. And that's the mind fuck that I'm in, Harris.
He's older than you. Ah, fair enough. For some reason, I don't know how old most people that watch me are. So I kind of have mental pictures, and I think you've mentioned things that suggest you're older than me, but I would have guessed like 40s or something. Like early 40s. What are we watching? We're watching Jordan Owen talking about HBomberguy. I don't know if you know who HBomberguy is. Jordan Owen was one of his early targets.
Where I look at something, I look at the issues, and I look at it and I think, okay, here's what seems morally right and morally correct to me. And this is the position.
Your ex dated Chris Pratt in high school. That's crazy. I think the most I can claim as like a claim to fame is that my mum's cousin played drums in Dragon Force. His name's Dave McIntosh.
Position that I genuinely feel.
I don't even like Dragon Force, by the way. It's not my kind of music. I don't listen to metal. I look like I listen to metal, but I really don't. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
I look at it and I think, okay, here's what seems morally right and morally correct to me. And this is the position that I genuinely feel is the correct one to take. And then it's like there's this divine judgment in favor of the opposing point of view. And that's the brain fuck that I'm in. I can't pretend that I agree with your side and your point of view, but I feel like there's a divine judgment in favor of it anyway.
Your position in life is primarily decided by your starting circumstances. There's very little upward mobility in our society. I don't know if that's always true, but it certainly can be. I kind of went downwards, if anything. Also, hope you're good, rock guts.
How am I doing on time? 16 minutes. Feels like it's been about 4 hours. I'm sure, you know, you can call this another YouTube meltdown and that kind of thing. But I look back at that time in my life. I don't recognize the person that I was. I hate myself every day for allowing myself to become known by that cartoon caricature of myself. I hate looking back at myself and seeing myself when I was 70 pounds heavier than I am now. I hate looking back, and it's weird. I hate looking back at myself when I was confident. I really hate it. And I don't know why it means so much to me, Harris, to try to get through to you, to try to change your mind. I don't know why I'm not capable of laughing it off and going on. I don't know why this continues to burn me year after year, why it's...
At least the HBomberguy only crawls out of his hole to drag in a victim once a year. Well, that's all he has to do. I mean, like I said, I've been talking about that James Somerton guy. Kind of seems like that's all they have to do. I'm surprised he doesn't have a suicide on his hands yet, quite honestly. As much as I agree with a bunch of things he says in videos, I think he makes some good points. Even the Jordan Owen one, some of his points were good. Some of them were complete dog shit and clearly just, gratuitous shit to throw into the video. But like the way he kind of enables these like bully squads is something I wish I'd hear him like address. I don't know that I ever would. Because I mean, you can say what you want about shit like DGG and shit like that. He used to, like Destiny used to at least attempt to like mitigate some of that shit. I don't think he really bothers so much anymore. I don't think he did as much as he always claimed he did, but it's not often you really hear like someone like in any way like interface with the fact that their fans are going to go and drag people that they talk about. Like, you criticize someone, your fans are potentially going to go run and harass them and like do all kinds of shit. And that's not cool, you know?
This barrier that just hovers in front of me everywhere I do. But I look at the world through the Sierra effect.
You met the Dalai Lama at Tokyo University. Oh my God, that's crazy.
A measured response colored glasses.
Listen, I believe the story. Don't worry. Don't worry about anyone else.
Every success that I have feels dishonest, and every failure that I have feels like confirmation. That's where I'm at. And don't get me wrong. When I play a good show or something, there's gratification in the moment. I'm not a total emotional washout. There's gratification in the moment. I enjoy it. And then, after I've shaken everybody's hand and smiled and said goodnight and all that, I go sit back down in my car. And I'll look, and maybe there's a little piece of mold on the steering wheel or something. I'll just focus in on that, and everything drains out of me, and I return to seeing the world through the Sierra effect and measured response colored glasses. And I remember what a loser I am, and I stop trying to lie to myself. And what I carry with me, the lesson that I learned, Harris, I learned in the moment of that. Somebody said something on comment on your video. I love seeing Jordan Owen treat people, get treated the way he treats people, and that stayed with me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are people I've
yeah, again with the what is it, justified bully shit.
Commented on that I do think need to be criticized, and I stand by that. If you are going before the United Nations and arguing policy based on abject lies and that kind of thing, you need to be criticized. And that would be as true for me as for anybody else. But I've also realized in this moment that, I look at it as like a cross to bear, realizing the pain and suffering that I've probably caused, emotional pain and suffering I've probably caused other people with my online presence. I bear this cross to be reminded so that I am never so confident and never so cocky as to return to that. And it feels weird. It feels weird to be groveling in front of you, especially because if we stood face to face, you would probably come up to my kneecap. But that's reality. And the great lesson that I've learned is that I wish I could go back to that time in my life and do it all again.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, you get a big video made on you that you feel doesn't really understand or like represent you properly, but it's like people aren't watching this kind of stuff to go back and check that they weren't shitting on someone just because of mob mentality, just because, oh well, HBomberguy said something, so now I have to go after this person. That sucks. I mean, listen, from what I understand, this guy's in a better place now. This was a few years ago, but truthfully, like, this kind of shit can have an effect. And like I said, someone who's like so concerned about like ethics and morals, supposedly, as someone like HBomberguy, doesn't seem very concerned about the effects that what he's doing can have on people, or like what his fans are doing, because at the same time, of course, you should be able to criticize people and like not slander people, but certainly say your piece about people. It's kind of a tough needle to thread or whatever. But when you're bigger, it's like, well, if you criticize someone like James Somerton, your fans might end up stalking him for fucking years. And it's like, well, what do you do? What do you do about that? What do you do if this person gets so fed up of people like cyber stalking you and like going after every endeavor you do because you did a bad thing once, that like they end up like taking drastic action? You know what I mean? What's going to happen? What's going to happen there? People want simplicity. Hero and villain, victim and perpetrator. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Everyone copes. Yeah, everyone does cope. That's true.
Again. Well, not certain things. But do it all again with the understanding that just talking like I'm talking to you right now is enough to get my point across. And I don't have to spin. I don't have to be silly. I don't have to be aggressive. I don't have to be belligerent. I don't have to do any of that. This right here, this alone is enough.
He makes like one video a year. Well, that's enough, isn't it? You go after a handful of targets a year, and then your fans go after them. Like, you kind of wonder, should there not be some kind of... Do you think he sees the kind of shit like James Somerton, etc. have to deal with now? Like, yeah, he did a bad thing. He plagiarized some shit. It's fair to call that out. Like, he doesn't seem to care as much about his fans, like, going after these people, like, forever now. And that's just kind of, it's a bit fucked in my opinion.
And there are things that I want to do. You know, it's just like I've been writing my new book, and I finished writing chapter 13 the other day. So
not his job to police his community. I don't know about that. I think it depends what they're doing. But like, what happens if someone like James Somerton ends up ending his own life because everything he tries to do, like, this guy's fans are gonna like follow him around, like posting his picture and like reviews for his new like wedding photography thing. Like, it's just overkill. And like, you can argue whether or not people should police their community, but the fact is the community's still engaging with this, and they have for a long time, because this guy, I think, has experienced a fair amount of what someone like James Somerton does, and it has an effect. Like, irrespective of what you think there, you have to be aware of the fact that it's going to have an effect, you know?
I posted a tweet, you know, about that I finished writing chapter 13 and I had like 120 some odd pages done. And somebody immediately responded and said, well, I expect it to be every bit as good as the Sarkeesian effect. You know, and of course it was one, I know what their intent was in saying that because it was one of your people. And that's the thing. I'm trying to write, you know, I write longhand and transcribe it into the computer, and this is the, you know, this is the current chapter of the book right here. And, you know, stuff's getting done, it's happening, but man.
Yeah, with like someone like James Somerton, he's not like doing YouTube anymore. He's not plagiarizing like shitty essays for content anymore. It's like, have people not got what they wanted? But then anytime he tries to do anything now, it's like these people are like there to jump all over him. I just think it's nuts. Like, it's like they want him dead or something. And it's kind of justified bully shit. I'm sorry, I think I would actually like the person that's like inspiring these people to do this shit to kind of weigh in on it and like say something about how he feels about that kind of shit. Because it doesn't feel like he really does, at least from what I see.
I just sit there, every word I write, I imagine it being cackled at by HBomberguy. And, you know, you're not the first bully I've encountered, Harris. And I know you don't see yourself as a bully. But that's what you are. You put it this way. My granddad used to say...
He actually kind of is, let's be real. Irrespective of what you think of his content, irrespective if he makes good points, he is kind of a bully.
Tell my dad, if somebody ever picks on you in school, you beat the living hell out of him every single time you see him until he's too terrified to be anywhere near you. Now I ask you, is that an appropriate response to dealing with one bully? Is to become an even bigger bully? I don't think so, because after a certain point, what you've done is going to outshine what the other person did. At some point, it's going to switch over, and you will become the aggressor. I mean, that's the message, the ultimate moral of Beowulf, even.
Yeah. Like, I keep talking about James Somerton. He does some bad things. He gets chased off the internet for it. Okay. But then he tries to come back. And now these people are after him again. It's nuts. I think the best way to criticize someone is you have to come from a place of wanting to see the person improve. Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Oh, Jordan, why would you say something? The one man...
I have so many other problems and desires that constantly watching people you dislike on the internet, even if they're irrelevant, seems unhealthy. Well, I agree, yeah, but people want... I think there's a lot of people out there that want, like, acceptable targets. They want to be able to, like, harass or go after someone or bully someone. And, like... some people, they have to put this like step in there where there's something that they did wrong that like warrants it so that they can feel okay doing it, when in reality it's probably not something you should be doing irrespective, you know what I mean?
Laugh track of my life, the last 5 years of my life. Well, you know, pretty soon I'll come up with another YouTube video saying, hey guys, wanted to tell you about this new project, blah blah blah, that I'm doing. I hope everyone will go check out, you know, all that stuff. Just know that that's an act. This is what it's like day to day.
Yeah, we're still not done, by the way. There's another video, I think it was just a day later. So we had June 10th, I think it was, and then June 11th, 2020. Something I don't understand. So what, are we still kind of clinging? Maybe if I make enough videos, maybe if I say the right thing eventually, people start understanding, when unfortunately I don't think that's the case. And I mean, if nothing else, at least this guy probably isn't taking the kind of shit that he used to. Once again, we've got comments turned off. And it's like less and less return. Bearing in mind the original videos had like millions of views. And like the responses, the most we saw was about 6,000. So like a lot of people forever, they've got a certain image of this person, you know? And that can be hard to deal with for a lot of people, for sure. Like, I don't know how UC might have been before the HBomberguy stuff to people not seeing him the way that he sees himself or the way that he would like to be seen. And I can relate to that, like I said. I got to a point in my life where I stopped caring, you know?
So, first of all, a thank you to everyone who has indulged me the last couple of days with these videos that I've put up. You know, I'm part of me doesn't like being so bluntly honest about where I'm at, but at the same time, it's just I don't have any real good reason not to just be open and honest. And I want to touch on one thing, and
Who's Brandon?
I'll try to move on after this. I don't think there's a whole lot more to say.
If you mean this guy, he used to talk about Anita Sarkeesian a lot. I think that was the main thing.
At the moment, so I'll try to move on after this to other topics, but I alluded to the fact that I'm a high-functioning autistic, and in previous videos,
Oop, here we go. I'm autistic. Please be nice to me.
I don't like talking about that because, quite frankly, you know, I hate being on the spectrum with the you know, being on the spectrum with the, you know, the Chris Chan contingent and everything. And you know, there's a movie, Mary and Max, I believe it's called. It's a stop motion animation movie. It's actually really good, but it's about a woman or a young girl who through the movie grows into a woman, but starts out as a young girl who randomly writes to a random person in the phone book trying to get a pen pal and a pen pal relationship going, and the person writes back, and the person turns out to be this guy named Max who has Asperger's syndrome, and he's from New York. He has a very thick New York accent, and at one point you can see the clip online, by the way, and it really is a sweet movie, but at one point in the movie, he says, he's describing what it's like to be an Aspie, and he says, they say they want to cure me, but I don't want to be cured. I like being an Aspie. I don't. I really fucking don't. You know, it's like, you know, you go out on a date, and or you start dating a woman, and eventually, you know, everything goes great and goes great until I fuck up in some way, and she views me, and she views what.
You should hate how we're treated, not how we act. Well, I don't know. It depends. Like, I don't know. I kind of relate in a way because, like, I find it incredibly difficult to, like, connect with people and, like, socialize and stuff like that. And it's easy to start resenting those kind of qualities about yourself. But something like autism is going to give you good qualities and bad qualities ultimately. It can be tough to deal with, but jeez.
What's just happened as me being a smug, arrogant, stuck-up prick. You know, she thinks I was acting with willful disregard for her well-being and or her wants and needs and her desires, that kind of thing. Like I'm being big on Sex and the City or something. That's what she.
I mean, very much. This guy is like going to be focusing on like the negatives because of this thing that's happened. Like this very deeply affected him. You know what I mean? You know,
that's why it gets thrown in my face time again. I have to stop and say, no, you don't understand. I didn't understand this thing, this basic aspect of human interaction. You know, it's funny. Like I had a thing with you know, this woman. I feel really pathetic talking about this, but you know, maybe I can make a difference. Who knows? Anyway, you know, there's a woman a few months ago that I met that I was really into, and we were really clicking, and it felt really good. And you know, we were talking about the subject. We were texting back and forth, and the subject came up of what love means to us. And, you know, the idea of love, and I gave my answer. And then she responded and she said, well, you know, love for me is finding somebody that isn't expecting me to be their other half and isn't expecting me to complete them. I need somebody that's complete in and of themselves and is, you know, focused on the relationship and not just me trying to endlessly fill a void that I can't possibly fill. And so my response was, oh, so it sounds like what you're looking for is a man who has no flaws of his own and is just completely devoted to your needs.
Oof. It's not the best response. You don't want to be taking that shit too personally or too seriously. I mean, I get it. I'm one of those people. I think there's some people that do have that kind of void in them that can only be filled by another person. And there's probably just not much you can do. Some people are just shit at being on their own. But like, Jesus Christ. That's that's a Giga Chad thing right there.
And she and she was like, no, that's not what I meant at all, and I'm sorry, I seem to have touched a nerve. And I showed the text to some friends, and they're like, no, it had nothing to do with you. What she was talking about was that she doesn't want to. I don't want to repeat the exact language, but
yeah, probably doesn't want someone who seems needy, who seems like they need another person. I mean, some people feel this way, He's still alive. Yeah, he's around. Like, from what I know, I think he's doing a lot better nowadays. And maybe this was part of processing it, you know what I mean? But he's kind of had to do it on his own, from what I can tell. He's not really had any help from anyone else.
But I said, what she's describing here, this means that she's been in toxic codependent relationships in the past, and she's looking for, this. She's trying to avoid that in the future. This has nothing to do with what she said about you, and how she feels about you. Could have knocked me over with a feather. I mean, I had no idea that that's what it meant. I could never have figured that out. I mean, it was just a puzzle to me what she actually meant. And I had to eventually tell her, look, I'm sorry, I'm an Aspie. Sometimes I don't get these things. Well, obviously we're not together. And that's the great aggravation. Is it's like it's something that in my.
Does he think, oh, if I hadn't got that one thing wrong, might things have been different? I wonder.
Day-to-day life, there's Aspies that can't, there's Aspies that if you tell them to take this item, go stand in the checkout line and give people money and for the item, and then take your change, put it in your pocket, and go, that's too much for them. Like that's not my deal at all. And there are the Chris Chan
stuff like that. I think with a lot of autistic people, it's more about they stress over like the ambiguities. If you tell someone go to the checkout, it's like, okay, where's the checkout? What does the checkout look like? What is it? Blah, blah, blah. If it's a foreign concept to you or something, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of something that autistic people like struggle with, that kind of thing. Earnest compassion doesn't seem common on YouTube. No, I wouldn't have said so. But hey, it's the internet. If you're coming to the internet for earnest compassion, I guess that's your first mistake.
Level of Aspies that double over, if they hear something they don't like, they double over on the ground and start screaming. I'm not anywhere near like that, but I do just, things, I fuck up, and the way that I've covered up for that fucking up in the past is a very negative and toxic thing, which is to be as rash and arrogant as I possibly can, as in your face and arrogant about it as I possibly can, and fully and completely embrace that. And that's, that's my great aggravation. And it's like, I can't, that's just one example, but it's like, you tell a girl that you're an Aspie, and she immediately puts you in the adult diapers and seizures, random seizures category, and so that's the clusterfuck of it. And one of the things that really got under my skin with that HBomberguy video I was talking about was he reiterates in he's going back over the previous video that he made, and he wanted to correct himself on something he said that was hypocritical, and that was that.
Does anyone care? No, they don't, except me. It's fine. I'm fine with that.
That I
mean, I say I care, I'm more just interested, because I think there's a lot of criticisms of HBomberguy that don't really get heard. And possibly people make these kind of criticisms, they get fucking pilloried for it. I don't know. I'm not really big enough for that to usually be a factor, so. I'm just interested, because it feels like history repeats, honestly. Like, this is an early target of HBomberguy, and it clearly like fucked him up in a hell of a lot of ways. And then we look more recently to people like James Somerton. It's like this kind of shit seems to still be happening. I think there is a conversation to be had, about how your fans kind of do. I'm trying to remember what this guy used to make videos about. I think he was like anti-feminist, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I'm sure if we go most popular, we'll find some, because he still does stuff today. Like, here's a video from 7 days ago. But we go on popular. It's like, well, he did a video about Elliot Rodger. Atlas Shrugged film. Big Libertarian. Talks about metal music. Is Queensryche a metal band? I don't know. Analysis of My Little Pony. Video about Amy Schumer, because she's unfunny or whatever. I hate people that assume what I'm like if they know I'm autistic. I have the exact same thing. I used to hate like mentioning it because I felt like if people did know that about me, then what would happen is they'd start making all of these like assumptions about me, which I don't think are fair, because if you meet one autistic if you meet one autistic person, you've met one autistic person, you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit annoying if you were to reveal that about yourself and they're like, oh, so you do this, that, and the other. You're sitting here like flapping your hands and shit like that. Well, it's like, that's not necessarily who I am, you know what I mean? So I used to find that kind of shit annoying. He's talked about Chris Chan a fair bit. More Elliot Rodger. Yeah, it's like libertarian, anti-feminist, anti-SJW kind of stuff. Apology to Anita Sarkeesian. Wow. But yeah, I don't know, like, he really went through it with the HBomberguy stuff. I have to imagine his energy was very different pre this. It really like seemed to fuck him up.
You know, he showed a clip from one of my videos where I was live streaming with somebody, and I looked at, you know, you see me look out the window like I would, you know, this is what you see, just me looking up above and beyond the camera. And I looked out the window and I said, speaking of objective reality, the most objectively fine pair of legs just walked by outside. And Harrison bites into me about that. His response was, "Oh, really?" He was something like, "Oh, really? Does he, you know, were his legs hairy? Does he work out?" Like he made it sound like I was looking at a man, and he wanted to walk back that statement because he himself is bisexual. He realized that it was a homophobic remark, which it was, and
oof, ouch! You hate to see it. The woke, the woke forgetting to be woke for a second.
I wanted to walk it back, and you know, I think that's good. I mean, he may just be trying to save face. I don't know. He does not seem like somebody that displays a lot of it.
Yeah, stuff like that. It won't be because he feels bad that he was homophobic towards you necessarily. He'll feel bad because his audience won't like it, because his audience is soy, ultimately. Because you have to bully, you have to bully people for the correct reasons, not the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? As if that justifies it. I don't think it does, personally. I think you're going after someone like that. It's not cool either way.
Empathy for people, but so he may have just been trying to save face with his crowd. But I do appreciate that at least on some level he recognized the hypocrisy of what he said and walked it back. But what I don't understand is why it's wrong for me to express. Why is it wrong for me to express appreciation for that woman's legs? I understand why it would be wrong to catcall somebody. I understand why it would be wrong to harass somebody with it. And believe it or not, something I have to deal with in that regard. I know it doesn't look like it right now because I just got in from working out, but something I have to deal with is women who think they have the right to come up and play with my hair and, you know, start playing with my hair and tugging on it and everything. And that, you know, I find that to be an extraordinary affront. And of course, the reaction you get from people is, oh, well, you should just love.
Lily STWT, hope you're good. You don't know who he is? Fair enough. He made videos about this guy and he got an absolute shit ton of shit because of this. Because these videos popped off. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I can't see you, so I can't return the compliment, but I hope you're good.
The attention. You know, you should just appreciate the attention. And so, anyway, I understand why catcalling would be a problem, but why was I in the wrong? I don't understand. Legitimately admitting to having Asperger's is something that I absolutely despise admitting to, and that I hate. That this is one of my like deep dark secret things that I never ever want to think about or acknowledge or admit to anybody.
Yeah, this doesn't sound healthy, but at the same time I do understand it, because people will think that they know you because of it, you know.
You know, it's like, I mean, it's that level of I don't ever, you know, I'm admitting something that I don't ever want to have known or want to admit to or talk about. On that level, I don't get it. I don't understand why, you know, it still carries. His correction was that he didn't want to appear homophobic. Not that there's something about men finding women attractive that's not okay. And I can't fucking figure out what that is. And you might have noticed that in all of my blogging and all of my commentary, I work off of the predicate that I don't understand what is the problem here. I don't get it. No one can explain it to me. And that really pisses me off. It really pisses me off. I mean, the woman, I don't even remember actually saying it. If it weren't for the video footage, I would have forgotten it completely. But I don't remember what that woman even looked like. I don't remember who I was looking at. I didn't know the person. But more so, I didn't identify the person in the video. I didn't put them on camera. You know, Roosh V did a thing where he started what he called the international fat shaming movement. And what he wanted his followers to do was go take their phones. When I say take pictures, I don't mean copy pictures that people uploaded to social media of their own free will. He wanted men, his followers, to go around and snap pictures with their phones of fat women, overweight women that they see around town and upload them to the internet for everyone to make fun of. And then this piece of shit can't figure out why he's, and then his excuse, the excuse that he makes is, that he's doing this for their own good, that this is something's got to work to try to get through to these women. I think that's obvious bullshit. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think he's a sociopathic cretin that gets off on hurting people. But anyway, I understand that. I understand why actively antagonizing somebody would be wrong. I don't understand why expressing approval. I also understand, by the way, why Donald Trump's grab him by the pussy comments are morally unacceptable. I understand all of that. I don't understand why it's a problem to express approval.
Yeah, well, the thing is, HBomberguy probably didn't give a fuck that this guy finds women attractive. But once he has one problem with you, he's going to find all these other things. So it's like, oh, you mentioned liking women. That sounds a bit seedy. That makes you sound a bit like a sexual harasser or whatever. Or something you can be like, oh, do you mean men or something, without thinking, because his audience aren't going to like that very much. But then, I don't know, like I said, he was in with like Matica and people like that. Maybe that's that kind of residual kind of shit there. And yeah, I fully believe that HBomberguy is probably only sorry about sounding homophobic and not about, twisting the knife for the 100th time at this point.
For somebody's looks in a manner in which they don't even hear about it. They're not identified. Nobody could possibly identify who I was talking about unless, I don't know, they went and time-stamped the YouTube, the date of the live stream, worked out what the time was when I was that far into the live stream, somehow got a hold of the police camera footage from the intersection outside that apartment I was living in, cycled through it and found exactly who I was talking about, and uploaded it that way. And I'm not suggesting they do that, by the way. I'm saying that to show how utterly impossible that would be. Unless that weird freak occurrence were to happen, there is no way anybody could know who I was talking about or anything. I mean, I don't.
Fat shaming doesn't work. Yeah, very true. Like, if someone's fat, they probably know they're fat. If you point at someone who's fat and be like, you're fat in it, you should lose weight, they've probably had that thought about a million fucking times, for sure. But then we're happy to think that things like bigot shaming works, or that following someone around on the internet for years because someone you like made fun of them is acceptable, you know what I mean? Yeah, people are weird about, like, male sexuality in particular. People are weird about it. It's strange to me. And I wonder, I don't know if it's worse if you're trans or whatever. Because, like, any kind of sexual thought, you're already primed for people to think you're some kind of sexual deviant or something. But I don't know. I don't really talk about that kind of stuff. So I've never fallen afoul of that myself.
Don't understand what the problem was there. Harrison's whole thing he talks about in that video, he says that what he realized was that rather than try to make intellectual arguments to defeat these opponents, you have to just laugh at them and crush them by, point out what losers they are, and that's what makes a difference. Well, Harrison, you're not doing anything morally better than what I was doing, okay?
Oh, the sad thing is, so mad about it. Bear in mind how many years this is. 2020. At this time, it had been a few years since he'd spoken about Jordan Owen. Ouch.
All you're doing is putting up, all you're doing is just inviting people to laugh at somebody you don't like. It's just bullying. It's just schoolyard crap. And if I can claim one small piece of moral high ground, it's at least that I did take the time to put up those epic 3 and 4 hour videos where I'm deconstructing every single little point that somebody made. Only to learn that doesn't make any difference either.
Well, arguably. I don't know. I was talking to someone called Amethysta, who I've watched a few times on here. I was talking to her last night. I think if you're trying to make a difference or whatever on YouTube, you're probably barking up the wrong tree, ultimately. Like, I don't know, I've learned an awful lot watching things and listening to things and forming my own opinions on things. But, like, making a difference, I don't know.
So, what did I do wrong? What was the morally reprehensible thing there? I don't get it.
Like, we're still, I feel bad. I honestly feel quite bad for him, feeling that misunderstood and never getting that kind of closure, never getting given a satisfactory answer as to what the actual issue was. When you feel like the video talking about you got so many things wrong, you know what I mean? It's tough. I think having to learn to deal with not getting closure on something. I don't know if it's worse if you're autistic, maybe it is. But it's one of those things that unfortunately you just kind of have to try and get used to. You're going to have some ex-girlfriend who you're not really going to get closure as to why they treated you badly or whatever. Whoever bullied you in school, You might never find out what it was that irked them about you so much. That's something everyone has to deal with. You have to deal with the fact that there's things you'll never get closure on, for sure. I mean, it's quite, like I said, he's probably done an awful lot of work since then, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this version of Jordan Owen from fucking 2020, almost 5 years ago, is the same person he is now. I'm not trying to say that, you know.
It's just like, you know, the Gillette commercial, the woke Gillette commercial comes out, and one of the things in there is a guy sees a woman walking down the street that he wants to go talk to, and his buddy's like, yeah, not okay. And stops it. It's like, and that makes you a better man for stopping your friend from going and talking to a woman he wanted to talk to on the street. Like, I don't understand the problem there. And look, I'll go you a step further. I understand that there can be a degree where it goes too far, where you can start harassing people. I had a situation about 2 years ago. I was walking around a store doing, you know, the grocery store attachment of a gas station, the convenience store, and this gay guy followed me in. I assume he was gay. He follows me and he walked right in my personal space the entire time I was in the store, muttering these like sexual things to me. And it's a little wormy guy's
what is Talmud?
Muttering this sexual stuff to me, and I wasn't physically afraid. He had all the body.
I had a lot of feelings of not getting closure from people who treated me like shit in school. I realized we changed over the years, so I was mad at people that didn't exist anymore. That is very true. And people that are mad at you years later, they don't know who you are. Who you are to them stops at the last point they saw you, whatever. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's something everyone has to learn ultimately. And I think not being able to learn that can certainly drive you insane.
Massive Andy Dick, so I wasn't physically afraid, but I was getting annoyed and getting creeped out by this guy that's like following right here, whispering all this wonderful stuff to me. But what I don't understand is the idea that just going up and speaking to somebody that you're interested in is wholly unacceptable in and of itself.
You're like shaking. Hang on, sorry, we're doing schizoanalysis. I don't care. Just handshaking.
The idea that just going up and speaking to somebody that you're interested in.
Yeah, it's like a little bit. It's like very stressful for him, I can tell.
Is wholly unacceptable in and of itself. There's no way to know until you try. But I'm apparently, see, you have to understand, everybody writes in and tells me all this great stuff, but all of the compliments, and I appreciate them, all the kind words, I appreciate it, I really do, and it means a lot to me to hear all of that from you, but that doesn't change the fact that the historical record has been made about me. There's nothing I can do to overcome this. Barring some kind of miracle, HBomberguy's commentary on me will go down in the annals of history as the record of my time on Earth. And, you know, people say, well, why do you care? Because I always hoped that my life would amount to something significant. So I don't understand it. I don't.
Well, it sounds like it has. It's just it's a be careful what you wish for kind of thing.
Get it. There's something I did wrong there, and I'd like to know what I did wrong. In seeing somebody walking down the street commenting from inside my apartment that I thought that they had nice legs, from a from a perspective of, it's kind of like, you know, in another one of his videos, Harrison talks about, he makes fun of me for mentioning this this stripper that I know that works at a certain establishment here in Atlanta, and it's like there was something wrong about me mentioning her, and everybody in the comments is talking about, you know, that they hope she's okay and all of this stuff, and it's like, well, first of all,
yeah, like, to be clear, it was like cringy. You're talking about like the dancers you like at the strip club. It does sound a bit like seedy and a bit, but it's like, it's ill-advised. It's like, if you comb through anyone's like YouTube output, you comb through like my streams, you comb through someone else's shit, you're probably going to find little things that are a bit cringy and a bit weird that if you wanted to, you could stitch together in a video to make it seem like maybe they're like that more often than they actually are and stuff like that. So it kind of sucks. And like, truthfully, a lot of these like little clips of this guy were like kind of cherry picked or whatever. If you actually watch his like content from the time, it probably isn't mostly like that.
I would imagine she would appreciate the added patronage, if anything. But it's like, if pointing that out was so wrong, why are you republishing the statement in your video? Your video that has gotten close to 1 million views has done a hell of a lot more damage to get that piece of that information out there. It's done if that is indeed doing damage to that woman, it's done a hell of a lot more than anything I ever did. That got, you know, my original video that probably got 1,000 or 2,000 views tops. That I would really like to know. I'd really like to know. And there's a lot of things that I don't understand. I'm not saying this rhetorically. I'm saying it because you win. I admit that I'm the failure and I'm the loser and I'm trying to understand. And I would really like to know. You know, it's just
really, really, really trying to understand. At what point do you like cut your losses, I guess?
like, you know, Zoe Quinn, you know, Zoe Quinn kind of, it's like, okay, I'll give you an example. Zoe Quinn comes out as non-binary. And I thought, okay, if Zoe Quinn is no longer a woman, does that mean that it is no longer misogynistic to criticize Zoe Quinn? I'm not saying that sarcastic. I understand how that sounds sarcastic, but I'm genuinely asking. I genuinely want to know. Just like I genuinely want to know what happened to the, what, $80,000 she got for that weird gay porn video game that she was trying to make a while ago, and it's never come out. There's never been, it's never come out. There hasn't been an update since, I believe, 2018. It's all but forgotten about. She got $80,000 to do that, and nobody is, nobody seems to think that that's a scam. However, I crowdfunded a documentary and that I created and released, and then you still have the gall to say that it was. You still have the gall to call that a scam. I don't get this. I don't fucking understand it. You know, people messaged me when, you know, I should do a commentary on this. I have a long backlog of things to talk about, but, you know, Mercedes Carrera, who was in the Sarkeesian Effect, she and her husband were arrested on accusations of child molestation, and they're in prison awaiting trial.
Was the hip he's talking? So he had a bunch of videos made about him by someone called HBomberguy, who is quite a big YouTuber, and these videos like blew up because this was years ago. It was like 2019, or like if not sooner. And like, unfortunately, seems to have kind of ruined his life a little bit.
People were messaging me asking if I was going to recut the Sarkeesian Effect to get after what's happened with Mercedes Carrera. One, because I don't believe in doing the George Lucas thing where you know, recut and re-release a new thing. And I know nobody actually gives a shit about my documentary. I'm not in any way, shape, or form claiming that anyone does or that it's on par with George Lucas or anything. But in principle, I don't believe in doing that. I think once it's done and released, it's done, period. But more to the point, I believe, you know, when I interviewed Mercedes Carrera, one, she's innocent until proven guilty. But two, I don't believe that you can hold people responsible for not knowing that someone would be accused of a crime 4 years later or 3 years later. Like, there's no way of knowing that.
Yeah, all this shit, this is the kind of thing that people are going to throw at you because there's already been so much shit slung at you that it's like, well, now we're going to throw every tiny thing we can find. I mean, that was already what HBomberguy was all about anyway. Like, we saw the video, the amount of like tiny little nothing criticisms that when you actually think about it, it's like, why are you raising this? Like, who fucking cares about this, you know? It's like, there's one problem with this person, and then, like, everything becomes fair game. Like, everything is a problem now. Like, not mentioning in a video that several years later, someone was, like, accused of child molestation. Well, he didn't know, did he? Obviously. But these people aren't going to care, you know?
Mercedes Carrera would have been accused of this. And no, the fact that she's an adult film star does not change, does not add any weight to that. That possibility. No. So there's no way of knowing that this was going to happen down the road. And the other reason that I don't believe in it is because I don't believe that there's any problems because there was so much hypocrisy on the other side. You have, you know, you had.
Hi, Maya. I hope you're good.
Who was it? Valis 77, I believe, was the screen name of the guy who was a convicted sex offender who was running the all ages, who was moderating the all ages chat forums for Feminist Frequency. The guy who posts videos of himself pedaling on a bicycle, pedaling past an elementary school, saying, "Oh no."
Yeah, I mean that's not good either, is it? That's not good either. I bet we didn't hear any criticisms of this from these people.
Y'all, here's the place I'm not supposed to be. Oh no! Like gloating about the fact that he's a convicted sex predator. You have who was running, was it Valis 77, I believe was the...
Valis 77. I wonder if I could find that. I don't know how it would be spelled. Oh, Feminist Frequency closed its doors in 2024. I'm going to be honest. I thought it stopped like years and years ago. The internet is the easiest place to unperson someone. Yeah, very true. Need to Sarkeesian. I didn't know where I'd find this person, unfortunately. But I don't know how it's spelled or anything like that. Ooh. Sorry, I'm clicking on things.
the screen name of the guy who was a convicted sex offender, who was running the all ages, who was moderating the all ages chat forums for Feminist Frequency. The guy who posts videos of himself pedaling on a bicycle, pedaling past an elementary school, saying, "Oh no, y'all, here's the place I'm not supposed to be. Oh no," like gloating about the fact that he's a convicted sex predator. You have that guy who is in the employ of Feminist Frequency. You have Devin Ferrasi, who gets fired from his job on sexual harassment allegations, quietly hired back and fired again on sexual harassment allegations. You have Hannibal the Victor 13, who turns out to be a convicted sex criminal. It's just this overflowing orgy of sexual transgression on their side, and then I'm supposed to go back and re-edit the Sarkeesian effect because someone I interviewed who had not ever been accused of a crime then was later accused of a crime. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, you don't get it because it makes no sense, because these people don't care. They've got a reason to hate you, and therefore everything is now fair game. And it doesn't make sense. And it's kind of a dumb thing to get upset about, but it's kind of how it is. That's how these bully squads fucking operate.
In this shit. And I don't like the feeling that there's everybody gawking at me like there's some brazenly obvious moral transgression I'm committing, and that I'm mocking that transgression and arrogant about the fact that I'm making that transgression, when in reality, I don't fucking know what the transgression is. So if you could explain to me what I did wrong in commenting on those nice legs that walked by my apartment. The other day, some nice legs walked by the window of my apartment that I'm in now. What the fuck was the problem?
Oh, cancel him immediately. That's terrible. Can't be saying stuff like that. Who cares?
Anyway, thank you for listening to me vent my spleen. I will try to focus on something else in my next video.
Okay, we got a couple more. I know maybe this is not very interesting to everyone. I'm personally interested in this, so you're going to have to deal with me being self-indulgent today. I promise tomorrow I will talk about something else. But we got a couple more videos. There was one, and I'm going to have to follow this documentary up another time because I've not seen it. As a part 2, it's going to be long. You're just the next victim for the struggle session, lol. But yeah, we've got my interview for an HBomberguy documentary in response to a concerned comment. No, hypocrisy from my opponents doesn't mean you lower your standards. Defining yourself in relation to what your enemies makes you a reactionary. Yeah, I guess I agree with that. Anyway, so we've got 2 more videos. I think the last one, we're hopefully going to hear how this guy is like moving on and hopefully getting better, because obviously this really badly affected him, irrespective of what the actual content was, irrespective of that. Yes, HBomberguy is expressing freedom of speech, criticizing someone. That shouldn't be a problem. Ultimately, this is the result of it. This is what can happen, you know. Like I said, I'm going to have to, let's say I criticize someone and that kind of blows up or something. A lot of people end up seeing it. I'm going to have to reckon with what kind of effect that might have on the person that I talked about, you know? But anyway, we're getting there, don't worry. Let me just...
Hey everybody. So I did a interview recently, and initially I was just making this video to announce that the interview was up and I wanted everybody to check it out. There's an interesting comment that the video got that I wanted to respond to. So I was contacted recently by a user, Valium Sadfem McGirlboss, who is someone very, very, very much on the left, who wanted to do an interview with me for a documentary she was doing about HBomberguy. And the documentary, it's linked below. If you watch it, and I would recommend watching it and coming back to this, if you watch it, it's very much her thinking aloud, because she had some she appreciates what Harris does, but had some very real concerns about his ethical practices, his...
Yeah, I probably feel similar to this person, honestly. We're not going to watch it now because it's like an hour and 15 minutes. And like we've got, you know, not all of the comments are hateful, which is good. And yeah, they would have spoken. I don't really know how much to show here, but that's kind of how I feel. Like, some of the stuff he's talked about has been good. You know what I mean? He's made some good points. I think that highlighting like plagiarism and shit on YouTube is a good thing. But then it's concerning, like what seems to be coming from that when we look at like the effects that his fan base seems to have on people. You know,
rhetoric, his the way he attacks and goes after people. She had some real concerns there. And so she reached out to me to talk about my experience. And for those who don't know, Harris kind of built his career around doing very let's just say doing commentary about me when I was at the height of my YouTube infamy. There's one, and the thing is, there's one video in particular he did that was not a commentary on me. It was not him punching up at all. It was very much an act of him waiting until I had hit rock bottom and coming up to kick dirt in my eye and laugh at me and punch down. And because of that, and because the video is extraordinarily defamatory, says a number of things that are absolutely not true, and casts me in a light that I think is completely unreasonable. It has haunted me for a long time, and it has really stayed with me. And in the course of the interview with Val, which the interview takes up...
Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't mention. This is 2021, so it's another, let's say, year and a half after the previous one we watched. And I think the most recent one is a year or two old. But we'll get to that.
Up a good chunk of the documentary that she made, because it ended up being kind of the, kind of the central thematic discussion point, if you will. One of the things I said is that I would just like to have this video removed. Because it would mean a lot to me to be able to move on with my life and move forward with my life, not being...
Again, we still need closure. I wonder how much this will change coming up. It's like we still need closure on this kind of stuff. Like, is removing a video going to do that?
Hounded by this very, very... this is just very, very disgusting characterization of me that has become the single most popular video or piece of information about me, period. And I would like to not have this be the record of my time on this earth. Anyway, the response to Val's video has been generally positive, and I really do appreciate that everyone who has written in has been largely pleasant and even-handed about it. Obviously, some people... Obviously, some people have had some reservations. This one person, I'm just now noticing this as I sit here, this one person said, I can't help but, when hearing him talk, interpreting his admissions that his actions were wrong as token in attempt to make himself appear more reasonable. Well, I'll address that in the context of this other comment that I'm about to address. Anyway, there's a user named Titania who says, I don't know what would be the utilitarian or Kantian point of view of unlisting the video or not. I value Jordan's life, as toxic as he might be. The things Jordan did still affect me to this day, and the only way I would be comfortable with HBomber unlisting the videos would be to make another video celebrating the victims of Jordan and having a section where he acknowledges his growth and unlist the video then. So it goes on from there, but I want to get that first thought out there.
I don't know what victims this guy has. I don't know what we're mentioning there. Like, I'd have thought there'd be more mention of this guy having victims in the videos. I know I used to be a big fan of HBomberguy. I've seen those videos multiple times. I don't remember him having like a victim, like having victims, having like a body count or whatever shit. Hi Cassie, hope you're good.
So first and foremost, Titania, if there, as I said in the original interview, if there's any concern that there's any concern that you have or anything that you'd like to express to me, I would be totally happy to listen to you about any effect that anything I've said or done has had on you. I don't think I know you personally, and I don't think we've interacted personally, but just in general, if you'd like to talk about that, you're welcome to reach out. I'd be happy to listen to everything you have to say, and Twitter is usually the best way to do it. Then you talk about, I'm concerned by your use of the word victims, and I'm not trying to negate any culpability on my part, but I'd like to know what you're referring to. It's a very strong word. And so again, if you'd like to talk about that, I'd be happy to listen. Privately. I'd like to not further escalate things in the public sphere. Anyway, but yeah, I think doing such a video would kind of defeat the purpose. What I suggested we do is HBomberguy and Harris and I, sit down and do a live stream where we actually talk and chat face to face. Because there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of things that need to be discussed, and a lot of this is really more between.
They're still chasing this as well. Like I remember him mentioning like them talking more close to the time these videos came out, but it doesn't sound like they came to much of a consensus. Like shit, I swear there are other videos that he might have hidden since then, going more into this. But I don't know if I'm going to find everything. I mean, I only have so much time today anyway, so.
Between me and Harris than it is intended to address the larger concerns that onlookers might have.
Anyway, so you go on to say, but that would take a lot of work and might bring worse results than simply unlisting the video. HBomber is more famous than ever, and such a video might be bringing in more toxic people back to Jordan's life as a way to hurt HBomber or simply to troll. Keeping the video up hurts Jordan, I know that much, but taking it down without context, I feel is dangerous and unreasonable to do for every single person. So
yeah, you got to wonder if there should be like a precedent on this. Might be a bit dangerous in terms of like, well, if you criticize someone and they find it unjust, should they always have to take it down? As far as, well, I mean, we know it's still up because we watched it. He would never have the grapes to do it. Yeah, probably not, no. But I don't think he cares. And I guess that's up to him, you know what I mean?
one of the things that people have expressed to me to try to like console me in all of this is to say, well, yeah, man, but it might be a big video for you, but you're very, very small potatoes compared to what HBomberguy is actually doing now, and he's forgotten about, most people have forgotten about all of this, and it's gone on to a much different, bigger and better things and all that. And my attitude is, if I really am just such a blip on the radar, then I don't think it would ripple the waters too much to pull the video. And then dangerous and unreasonable to do for every single person. I know because of what you say later that you're talking about the potential for other people to try to take advantage of that it might set a bad precedent. I'll get to that in a minute. As far as bringing toxic people back into my life, you have to remember the reason I got into such a toxic situation in the first place ultimately was not out of any political allegiance to those people, but simply because I was in a very lost and emotionally destitute place in my life, and they came in and offered a listening ear, the way those people are expert at recruiting people who are lost and directionless in their lives by offering them a sympathetic ear and all of that. So my potential to be re-victimized in that way is non-existent. There's no way I would ever want to have anything to do with those individuals ever again. That said, also the more specific people that might want to come back into my life and re-victimize me, I think are largely in that regard. I think are largely neutered at this point. They none of them have the influence or the respect that they used to have. So I'm not concerned about that as much for myself. Also because when you're in an abusive situation, as I was, one of the things that happens is you start to think if any knowledge of this comes to light, I'll get blamed and everybody will believe that other person. I've already seen the opposite thing happen. I've already seen people without me having to do any kind of response to those people realize how horrible they are. And so I don't think that anything they do would have any great traction in that regard. So I appreciate your concern, but it's not something I'm worried about. Then you go on and say, Jordan is still a capitalist and would have my people starve because of a chart and the invisible hand of the free market. There, I have to say no.
What the fuck does that mean?
So I appreciate your concern, but it's not something I'm worried about. Then you go on and say, Jordan is still a capitalist and would have my people starve because of a chart and the invisible hand of the free.
That is so retarded. Why say stuff like that? Or you believe in capitalism, so you think people should starve? Like, fuck off, bro. Come on.
Free market. There, I have to say no. No, I would not. That I can tell you honestly and truthfully.
Should I start telling communists that they want dictatorships that murder people en masse? You know what I mean?
From my heart, that no, I'm not. I did not become a capitalist or become a proponent of capitalism for the sake of letting people starve. Nor would I get behind it if I thought that's what would result from it. It is my opinion that capitalism would, of all of the economic systems available, capitalism really does.
Only 28 like. Hey, listen. You gotta like the stream. You gotta scroll down. You hit the like button. You see that? You hit like if it's your mobile device. You press the like button. Make sure you check the links in my description. You can super chat via Streamlabs. You can join me on Twitch or on Patreon for a few dollars a month, whatever it is. You can join my Discord. You can listen to my music. You can buy my music. Anyway.
This really and truly does feed the largest number of people, and most effectively. I really truly do believe that. I don't know who you're referring to when you say my people. I have to assume you mean maybe an ethnic or national minority or something, an ethnic minority or an underdeveloped nation or something like that. And no, whether or not I'm right is certainly or correct in my assertions is certainly an open topic for discussion, and I can entirely be wrong. But as far as my beliefs and my intentions, no, it is not my intention that anybody starve, and I would not get.
Yeah, I don't think people say this kind of shit as like a legit criticism. I think people are just being dicks when they say stuff like this.
It if I thought that was the case. So no, honestly, I don't feel that way. And so anyway, you go on and say the issue I have is trust. I don't trust Jordan to not relapse or for other even more untrustworthy people to try and take videos about themselves down when they haven't changed. Even this comment from a random person is something I fear could trigger Jordan going back into the way he was. Titania, there is absolutely nothing on this earth that could certainly not trigger me or ever in any way motivate me to want to go back to the way things were. That 2014 to 2016 window of my life was the worst experience I've ever had. I am legitimately, like, I am... You don't know half of what went on. You don't even know the half of what went on behind the scenes.
What was he speaking about? So I don't know if you know who HBomberguy is. This was one of his early like targets. He made videos making fun of this guy. Ended up getting kind of pilloried by HBomberguy's fans. It seems to have had a very, very profound effect on his life and his psyche. Like the videos that were made about him came out, I don't know, was it like 2018, something like that, 2019? Like we've watched several videos and it's taken him a very long time, I guess, to process. It's just something I'm interested in. Like I used to be a big fan of HBomberguy. I have quite a lot of concerns about him, like ethically as well. We recently saw someone called James Somerton who was taken down by HBomberguy for, you know, just in my opinion, you know, he was like plagiarizing like shitty video or like shitty essays on the internet, making them into videos without really scripting them himself, just stealing content and making it and making money off that. But now what's happened with this James Somerton guy is like HBomberguy's fans like follow him everywhere. And like, he's like trying to be a wedding photographer now. So they all find his like website and like mass like review, like shit on him in reviews and stuff like that. Every tiny thing they can find to have a go at this guy for. There's got nothing to do with the actual original criticism, which feels very much like a repeat of what's been going on with this guy. And like this guy was like very critical of like Gamergate, Anita Sarkeesian, those kinds of people. So that's kind of what got him in trouble, I guess.
But Titania, I spent a great deal of time, energy.
Like the artist Mutahar used in a video about some trans foods. Oh, Keffals. Yeah. Yeah, people said that art was transphobic because it made Keffals look ugly. In truth, the guy that does that art, he makes everyone look like that. Like that's his art style. But like Keffals got her audience to like chase him off the internet. And sadly, like Keffals has come back since then. Most of that audience isn't even fucking there anymore. Because like other people started shitting on her as well. But it's all kind of hilarious because fucking, what was it, Destiny was saying most of the shit that everyone says about Keffals now fucking ages ago. So, hey.
And money and tremendous personal risk getting myself out of that situation. And if nothing else, if I was to revert to the way things were, it would literally mean that I wasted thousands and thousands of dollars in the legal fees that I had to incur to get myself out of that situation. That bravado-filled, sarcastic, snarky person is not me and never was me. It was something that I forced myself to do with greater and greater difficulty the older and more mature I got. And now...
Yeah, listen, here's the thing. Like, anyone with a following, like if you criticize someone, your following is potentially going to go and like hassle them. I don't want that. I mean, if people to watch me see someone on my stream and have a legitimate criticism for them and raise that to them, then that's fair enough. I don't care about that. But like, you know, it shouldn't get to a place where if someone with more of a following talks about someone, then they get fucking mobbed and they get fucking bullied to shit over it, you know? What'd you miss? It's mostly like more of the same, I guess. We're getting towards the place where I think he starts to heal and move on. So
at almost 40 years old, I am deeply, deeply ashamed of that. And I realize your concern, and I completely understand it. And I realize if somebody that I despised on YouTube came at me...
Yeah, I mean, let women speak. Posey Parker is someone that that people have beef with, so it's okay to censor that person. Me personally, I think, you know, have your own events. Say your own things. Say why that's wrong and actually this is right, instead of censoring those people. That's how I think.
Me, from this perspective, I would be reluctant to...
Parasocial relationships are a hell of a drug. Well, yeah. You've got people that feel some kind of loyalty towards someone like HBomberguy. You've got people that see a video about someone like this and think that they know this person because they've seen this video that, let's face it, was not entirely fair towards this person. Like, it sucks. It sucks. I think that it's tough because I don't necessarily think that a creator has to police every single thing that every single follower does. But when you see the way that people are treating like James Somerton currently, and the way it seems like people were treating Jordan Owen, it seems like there's a pattern there. And I honestly don't think that HBomberguy really gives a shit. Like, I don't know. What if someone like James Somerton like actually goes through with it and like ends their own life? You know what I mean? How's he going to feel then? But hey.
To release that position. But I think that, or that perspective, but ultimately, all I can do is pay it forward one step at a time. I've continued to do commentary on things that are concerning to me, issues that are of interest to me, and that sort of thing. And all I can do is try to present a better self and a better perspective. And that's where it comes to this other person who had said, I feel like he's trying to make himself sound more reasonable. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to do. Because the thing is,
I mean, I think anyone wants to sound reasonable, no? But then we get, again, it's the every tiny thing, always trying to make himself reasonable. Like, was the original video reasonable? I don't know, man. Some of it seemed very unreasonable. But sure.
I have been for years now in a position where I hate the sound of my own name. I have watched my own name become synonymous with parody and ridicule to the point that I've even had people close to me suggest that I change my name. I have hated the sound of my own name to the point that a few days ago, I had somebody who really does think well of me in my private life introduce me to somebody that was an important person in their life in a very positive and very joyous manner. And I reached, as I shook that person's hand and heard my own name said in a positive context, I had to just instantly force myself almost not to cry. I realize that you have tremendous skepticism. And like I said, if somebody that I viciously and passionately disagreed with came to me with the same thing, I would probably be wondering what ulterior motives they had. But all I can do is tell you that what I value, what I've come to value in myself is an ability, hopefully, to help build people up rather than tear them down. And I realize, I have trouble trusting too. I have trouble trusting, especially because of the world that I found myself stuck in as a result of all of this bullshit we're talking about. Because of that, I interacted with somebody that permanently affected my ability to trust anybody. And so I understand where you're coming from. And there's not one thing I can say that will alleviate that in your mind, nor should there be, because I don't want you to be taken for a sucker. All I can do is pay things forward one step at a time. I'm not going to pretend that my positions on the issues are not what they are, but what I will do is articulate them better in a more conciliatory fashion so that there's less confusion and ambiguity about what it is I believe. I don't really have it in me to be that wisecracking, sarcastic, shoot from the hip guy anymore. And I don't want to be ever again. Leonard Cohen said that the problem with attitude is that attitude keeps us from getting to know the real you. And I like that a lot. The only thing I can do is just pay it forward one day at a time and try to better show the real me. And again, I realize your skepticism, but more and more I am getting comfortable showing this side of this reality.
Oh, he's kind of weighed in on the James Somerton thing. I was just looking at HBomberguy's Reddit, Jesus Christ, these people don't fucking get it, I don't think. It's nothing says I'm genuinely concerned about the well-being of someone I may have pushed to suicide, like getting the rockstar treatment at GDC. And it's never recovered from getting dunked on so hard all those years ago. Well, I don't think these people understand how it feels. Who is Jordan Owen? Alt-right, dude. He's not an alt-righter. He's a fucking libertarian or some shit. It's crazy how information changes. Go watch the videos. It's great. Jesus Christ. These people don't care. He's talking about someone I may have pushed to suicide. This James Somerton person. They don't give a shit about any of that. They think he deserves it. It's kind of terrifying. In the beginning, I might have. Definitely don't think the intention of this video is to make Somerton or any of his targets do that. But after James released his 2 response videos and among other things, took no responsibility, used his mental illness as a shield, threw his friend under the bus, lied about everything, I think his sympathy has run dry. Yeah, but we're talking about someone who might have killed themselves. And if he does one day, is that not fucked? I don't think HBomb is actively rooting for Somerton to hurt himself, but I don't think he'd cry if Somerton ended up doing so. I think this is sociopathic. I think it's a sociopath shit, quite frankly. These people are nuts. Anyway, sorry, we'll carry on.
Of who I am. The grandiosity that you saw before is not me, and it never was. For some people out there, that YouTube persona really is all they are and all they have. But honestly, I can't. I mean, I honestly, I feel I have a lot more to offer than that. and I'd like the opportunity to offer that. Like I said, I will still probably have opinions you don't agree with, but hopefully I can articulate them in a way that finds higher ground rather than just drawing lines in the sand, if that makes sense. Then you go on to say, but I have no power over his fate. Jordan, if you were reading this, I would say that if you still want HBomber to take down the video and you wanted to make it easier for it to happen, keep doing what you were doing and consider helping feminist causes and spreading the message of love. I cannot guarantee it will all be pretty or that—
Yes, just agree with us and then that'll be fine. Christ. Submit to the mob. Okay.
it will result in the video being taken down. But from both the Kantian and utilitarian point of view, it could help you and the world become better. By the end of it, you might not even need the video to be taken down. I want the best for everyone, and that includes you. Thank you for that. And I believe you're sincere.
With that said, trying to get a video taken down is a lost cause. It's not going to work.
Saying that.
He has a responsibility with such a large audience. I think that's true to an extent, yeah. Like, it's easy to get unreasonable and expect, like, large creators to completely be abreast of every single thing any one of their fucking deranged fans is doing. But I don't know, like, just looking over the Reddit quickly, and it seems like every time he talks about HBomberguy, people, like, jump to attention. That's probably why videos have been hidden. That's probably why comments are turned off, because I'm sure there were further videos. And, like, none of them seem to understand how those kind of videos could affect a person in this way. Like, it can happen.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing, I think the best thing you talk about taking on feminist causes and that sort of thing.
I guess what I'm saying, I think both HBomberguy and their fans are being quite rash, I think, with other people's mental health and not really quite understanding what can happen. And I don't think any of these people give a shit. I think if James Somerton fucking killed himself, I think they'd all have a fucking field day with it. I think they'd all be happy about it, quite frankly. Like, maybe publicly they'd have to pretend, oh no, how could this happen, you know? But at the same time, it just comes across at this point, like, some of these people, the only way they'll ever be happy, like, you can't ever respond to anything someone like this says to you because you'll get ganked, you'll get fucking dogpiled over it. And the only thing you can do is, like, disappear forever. Like, doesn't he have a right to be kind of annoyed about some of this shit when he wasn't really represented very fairly? Hopefully I'll remember this when I make it big. I hope so. But I mean, I don't know if I'll ever make it big, so. And like I said, I've said several times, if I do make a video about someone and it does pop off for some reason, and a lot of people see it and it's very critical of that person, I will have to think about, like, what effect that's going to have on them, for sure. I think it's incredibly rash not to think of it that way.
The best thing that I have found is truly for each one of us to work for the betterment of the people that we immediately interact with. You know, the internet makes us feel like we can take on the world and makes us feel like we have access to the world. I think a lot of times we just end up blowing a lot of hot air, though. The best thing, I think, is to focus on helping the people in our immediate vicinity. I'm not going to hold up any list of accomplishments in that regard because I don't want to be, I don't want those to seem like token gestures or anything like that, as that earlier person mentioned. But the best I can do is to pay that forward in the one-to-one personal sense. And so you are right, though, about trying to put out the best possible vibes and everything, and just try to be a force for positive change. That is what I would like to see.
Also, it's worth bearing in mind, by the way, I just searched Jordan Owen, and, like, very quickly you start getting, like, HBomberguy Reddit things about him. They're all rather scathing, shall we say.
In all matters. You know, like, there are a number of video ideas that I have, commentaries I have, that I haven't done because I've been wrestling with the idea of, like, how do I contextualize this in such a way that it comes off as sincere, it doesn't come off as braggadocious, and it offers the best possible forward perspective, or moving forward perspective. So, and there's been a lot of issues on my mind in that regard lately. So that's really just what I wanted to say in all of that. Like I said, Titania, I'm sorry. If you're interested, I'd be happy to talk. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and right now I've taken a number of steps, and I'm willing to take the next one. So that's the best thing I can say. Anyway, thank you for your time, everybody watching this. I hope you check out Val's video. She put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it, and it really is interesting above and beyond just my involvement in it. So anyway, take care.
In someone's defense, Jessie Gender and James were close-ish, and she was a lot nicer than HBomberguy during the incident. Well, yeah, but I mean, also, she didn't, like, initiate any of this shit, so I can't remember too well. I don't like Jessie Gender fucking whatsoever. That person scaremongers children for a living. I think she's quite disgusting, actually. But ultimately, like, she's kind of extra to the whole thing. I don't know what relevance she really has. We got one more. I mean, there's probably way more stuff that I could watch. He's like criticized the plagiarism videos. I mean, I can look at there was some community posts. I don't know if they're still up because they probably get jumped all over. Oh, there's gonna be most stuff about like Trump and stuff like that. He's not into Trump. Like this guy's an alt-righter apparently. He's not a big Trump fan. So we're probably not going to see very much of anything here. Yeah, not prepared to scroll through this much stuff. This is what I mean. Like, hopefully there's kind of a hopeful spin on this. But this is HBomberguy. I'm feeling better. And like the comments are allowed on here. Like, there's not going to be an apology. Absolutely not. And like maybe we're at a point where we understand that fuck, what am I trying to say here? Where we understand that closure is just not always possible, and sometimes you'll never know why someone took so much exception to you that they went after you for every tiny thing, and their fans followed suit. You know what I mean? But hey, we'll watch this. I don't know how much longer I'm streaming for because I have some stuff to do.
Hey everybody, I wanted to do a hopefully short video as kind of hopefully a cap on the recent commentary on HBomberguy and James Somerton and all of that. It's been a month since I did a video about Harris, and it's been
yeah, so he did like responses to the plagiarism video. I think it was 2 of them, and it's quite long.
It's been about 3 weeks since I commented on it on the communities tab, so a little bit of time has gone by. And last night I finished watching the plagiarism in YouTube video. And tonight, just now, I sat down and recorded a big commentary on the whole thing, talked about it in depth at length, you know, all of the problems with it. And there are some real problems with that video. Contrary to what a lot of people are saying, it is not a good commentary on plagiarism. In fact, he conflates a couple of different
Yeah, I don't know how much I think sociopathy is encouraged. I do think that we're a lot more individualist and a lot more selfish than we've ever been. With this kind of thing specifically, it's all the righteous bullying shit. It's all the, you know, it seems like some people want someone to go after, and they want for it to be someone that's bad so that it's justified. Where to me, that's still kind of hateful and kind of crazy. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, if someone really did something that bad, then that's supposed to be what the law is for. Otherwise, this kind of trial by social media shit, it's a bit nuts.
Concepts, crucially conflates a couple of different concepts of plagiarism in a way that really not only weakens his argument but calls his ethics with the argument into question. And there are things in that video that are there are things in that video that honestly constitute actionable behavior as far as I can tell, in my limited understanding of the law. But honestly, if I was James Somerton, I would be going after him. I would be looking into going after him for coercion and entrapment and a lot of other things.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like, the James Somerton shit is still happening. Like, we had his, I don't know if his website is still up. It's like, what do we expect this guy to do at this point? Like, it literally comes up. I start typing it and it comes up. Like, r/YouTube drama. Entire portfolio is plagiarized. Not how you spell that, but sure. Like, these people are nuts. Why hasn't he changed his name? It makes it so easy to track his plagiarism. At least as if these people are just typing in fucking James Somerton all the time. Is Todd into Shadows also responsible for bullying? Maybe. I haven't seen his I haven't seen as much from his community, but it's possible. But the thing is, to me, it seems like HBomberguy is a pattern and that this happens quite often. Todd in the Shadows doesn't normally do that kind of content. He did that video about James Somerton. For the most part, he doesn't really do that kind of content. Whereas I'm seeing a lot of parallels between Jordan Owen and James Somerton in how they've been treated and how he doesn't really seem to give much of a fuck. HBomberguy doesn't seem to give much of a fuck. That people, because of his video, are now like stalking him and tracking him down to all corners of the earth, when maybe just let him fucking get on with it, you know what I mean? Maybe just leave him alone at this point. He got chased off YouTube. He's not stealing fucking queeroid essays about shit anymore. Isn't that what we wanted? Like, and then we start getting stuff like this. A wedding photographer faked his entire portfolio. Here's what happened next. Like, because the thing is, did he plagiarize? Because he was using stock photography, stock photos, which he presumably owns. It could have been more obvious. Like, this is a mock-up of what it's gonna look like or whatever. Is that the same as plagiarism when you buy like stock photos and use them for marketing? I guess it's a bit different when you're a photographer, but it's a tough one. Like, his second attempt at plagiarizing the works of creatives. He presumably owns these like stock images, right? Is that plagiarism? It's a very complicated thing, I guess. Found on Wedding Wire, claimed to have 15 years of experience in wedding photography. And the other thing is, he might have been like pumping himself up. It kind of sounded, I looked at the Chud video a bit. It seemed a bit like there was, what is it? There was a lot of reviews there, which is interesting. I think internet personas like Trisha's Paytas have shown you can only get cancelled if you cancel yourself. I don't know if I believe that. It depends on the situation. Like, I thought the Harry Sisson cancellation was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. And that Sarah Fields person seems utterly nuts in my opinion. But it kind of worked. But like, it kind of worked because he's one of those like women respecters. And it turns out maybe he doesn't respect women as much as he claims to. And his friends are fucking snakes like fucking Dean Withers, who are going to buckle to like any social pressure anyway. I say it's plagiarism for using the same stock photos as someone else's videos, but using the stock photos themselves isn't plagiarism at all. I think I get you, yeah. Since this has come to light, Somerton has been missing. Removed his profile picture, even bio, from his website. However, per YouTube Drama and Wedding Wire, James Somerton has been accused of playing plagiarism even before. So, copying the essays of another YouTuber. This is such a gash article. He wasn't called out for copying HBomberguy. He was called out by HBomberguy for stealing other people's shit. What is this fucking article? According to NBC, Somerton listed passages from Harris's essays. That's not what fucking happened. Are you insane? Yeah, he called them out. He didn't call them out for stealing his stuff. Jesus Christ. Why even write this? I'm so baffled. Oh, ad removed. Okay, fine. Incident only goes to show, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't know. Everything he's doing, the less popular, the more cancel culture can actually work. That is very, very true. Listen, Vorsh got cancelled for looking at Lolly. He's still around. Destiny's being cancelled for being a sex pest fucking freak. He's still got that core audience. It's the smaller people. I mean, someone like James Somerton, I think his cancellation was fairly conclusive, but I mean, it's kind of what you expect. Yeah, like fucking out. People have gone nuts over this. Like, at what point is this enough now? At what point? Disgraced video essayist under the alias of William James, offering his services as a wedding photographer. James Somerton reemerges, plagiarizes again. I don't know if it's really plagiarizing. plagiarizing at this point. Bizarre. Got videos about it.
Hey guys, today we are going to talk about James Sumner.
James what?
Hey guys, today we are going to talk about James Sumner, also named
James Summoner. I thought this was just some shitter channel. They've got like 38 point. What the fuck?
known as James of Telos. He is a Canadian former YouTuber known for his commentary on videos on films, books, and comics, especially regarding queer history and characters. In December 2020,
people calling it fraud. Is it fraud? I don't know, man.
Two prominent YouTubers, Harry Brewis, HBomberguy, and Todd Nefanson, Todd in the Shadows, released back-to-back video essays with evidence that a substantial portion of James's work was either the result of plagiarism or complete historical fabrication. On December 8th, 2023, James privated all his content on his YouTube channel, then unprivated most of his content February 26, 2024, alongside a video acknowledging. And if you see something that is like too good to be true, it is often just a Shutterstock photo channel. Reading some of these comments, I'm at the point where I'm convinced.
At Critic29, I hope you're good. Shane Dawson still has a YouTube channel with 18 million subs. Latest video got almost 3 million views. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, it's completely true. Like, if you've got a big enough, core fan base, you can get cancelled for most things and people stick by you. I mean, we're seeing, like, let me see. I don't know if Destiny has like lost a lot of viewers. He will have lost some because the shit he's been getting up to is insane. I used to be a big fan, and I'm like, you know, this shit is like too rich for my blood, you know. But he's still, I mean, 48k. We're still getting like 155k views, 126, 122, 176, 284. We're still getting like very good views, I would say. Like, I forget what this started at. He's lost a few, like tens of thousands, but yeah, I mean, you can get cancelled for all sorts and and keep it going somehow. If you're big enough, if your fans are, you know, oh, they're cancelling people on Blue Sky. So much for Twitter being toxic. I mean, it's fairly well known that Blue Sky is just as fucking bad as Twitter. It's just a different group of people canceling a different group of people.
He's a synthetic being who has once plagiarized and replaced the.
I'm sure I've seen at least a few like lefter-leaning or like progressive, like trans people, if not whatever other kinds of people, talking about how bad Blue Sky is, for sure.
For someone else who was once known as.
I mean, they listen. I'm pausing a lot. They cancelled Brianna Wu on fucking Blue Sky. She's like the second most blocked person on there.
James Somerton. What an absolute pathetic and wretched existence. Not a original cell in his body. It must suck to suck so much. He is the first AI to be placed into a human body. Why hasn't he changed his name? It makes it so easy to track his plagiarism. You'd think he would have learned it by now. But then again, this is the man who plagiarized nudes. Why do I expect him to make smart choices? Seriously, he hasn't seen any name he would like to plagiarize as his own? Do we even know if his name is actually James Somerton? Or
I'm just waiting for this guy to like suggest that maybe some of this shit is a bit nuts, you know?
Or if he stole that too. The last part sounds like a joke, but it sincerely isn't at this point in time. He plagiarized.
Come to a point where everyone will opt out of all this social media shit. Yeah, hopefully, geez. I doubt it'll ever happen. People want to connect with each other. Not everyone is blessed that they can just make friends with the people around them. I usually forget about BS, it's just politics. Yeah. Loads of those people are like toxic as fuck. Blue Sky is no better than Twitter, I don't think.
The nudes? He plagiarized the nudes. Yikes. I am now convinced that James Somerton is a Golden Age era comic book villain that somehow got isekai to our world because this man is just way too committed to this bit. Laugh my ass off. His name would be the Plagiarizer or some shit. Laugh my ass off. Nah, he'll wear green colored goblin suit, fly around on a glider, and call himself the Green Goblin, not to be confused with the Green Goblin. That's just a coincidence. He's going to have to work with a lot of brides, and given how much contempt he feels for straight women, it's a coincidence.
Yeah, like this. I don't think this guy's gonna, I think this guy's fine with this. This is what it comes across as. You know, we've got this mob mentality going where every single thing, like, Jesus, considering what I've heard, I highly doubt James was gay to begin. Like, now we're doubting his fucking sexuality. It's just nuts. Why hasn't he changed his name to avoid our fucking harassment? You'd think this person, like, typing that, maybe we're the baddies. I don't know. This all seems fucking nuts. Anyway.
Because the way he goes after James is not good in that video, despite James's obvious wrongdoing. Is obvious. I'm not negating that. I'm not saying he's not a plagiarist, but Harris crosses some very serious lines. Most gallingly of all, though, Harris repeatedly challenges James with arguments, the same types of arguments, the same arguments essentially that I was attacked, that he attacked me for levying at other people. And that was it's very galling to me that he's now turning around and making those same arguments to James Somerton. And so I recorded this whole thing, breaking it apart, and then I kind of stopped myself and I thought about something. And that those three things in summation give you an idea of my problems with the video. I thought about something. You know, I watched a video on narcissists, done a lot of research on narcissism, but this one video pointed out that you have to understand that you never get closure with a narcissist. They are incapable.
What have I been saying? The entire time I've been talking about this. What have I been saying? It's almost like a lot of Jordan's like struggle is this need for closure and this need to be understood. And like, I think he's going where I hope he's going. And I hope he's kind of now understood that. Jesus Christ.
Of giving you closure. They could not give it to you if they wanted to. And part of that, I realize, is always going to be the case with Harris. Whatever asshole I might have been to other people, whatever apologies I might have owed and did extend to other people, Harris came after me.
Thank you, Amy. I just highlighted that so someone could blow smoke up my ass.
A conflict with me and mistreated me in some very real ways that I did not deserve. And because of the nature of his behavior, set it up so that I continue to get echoes of his behavior in the form of other people, followers of his, coming to me all these years later. But as I thought about it, I thought about the last 2 months since all of this came out. And what I honestly wanted to say as I thought about it is I've been feeling a lot better. Like I said, I cannot overstate the degree to which Harris's opinion of me became my opinion of myself. And I don't have to take on that damnable of an opinion of myself to work on myself and do better. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve Harris's treatment of me. I will never deserve Harris's treatment of me, and Harris will never be able to apologize for it. Oh, sure, he'll be able to do things like he did on Patreon, where he made this quiet video to his Patreon backers talking about Jordan Owen is removed.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Listen, I'm British. I self-deprecate as well. It's what we do, you know.
So many of his videos. I think he genuinely wants to do better. You're damn right I did, asshole. I wanted to do better with or without your approval. But it wasn't your approval that I was seeking. I don't need your approval. You need my forgiveness. And that forgiveness could have been so easy to come by. Maybe acknowledge to me that you were unfair to me.
You know, he sounds a bit like he's still a bit mad, but I kind of respect this in a way.
Acknowledge to your stance, your Reddit supporters and everything, your most hardcore fans, that you crossed a line with me. And maybe pull the one video where you made up a bunch of lies about me, where you targeted things that I absolutely can't help, like my...
Okay, we're still going for some stuff that I don't think is going to happen. We're not going to see this, video get taken down. Funny to me, this man's nearly 40, just got this last night. I mean, Jesus Christ, I think plenty of people even go their whole lives not understanding this kind of shit. Never, like, learning this kind of thing. And if they do, it takes something kind of drastic like what's happened here, you know? I guess if you've never been tested on specific things, it's easy to just never work on those things, you know?
My facial tics, things like that were totally unfair. Just pull that one. I don't have a problem with you criticizing me for the things I've actually done.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a bit soy and he's a bit of a hypocrite for sure. He'll go after anything and only apologize when it's like, oh, well, that sounded kind of homophobic and my fans are not about that kind of shit, for sure. Like, I can buy that for sure.
It's when you start making shit up. It's when you start it's when you start making wild accusations and tearing into me with just the most manipulative of behavior. It's when you start doing that you crossed a line with me. And you could have settled that with me a long time ago. As I'm now speaking to you directly, apparently, Harris. You could have settled that with me a long time ago. And I would have, I would have been very happy to accept.
I mean, the other thing is, what if something does happen to James Somerton or someone else that he takes umbrage with in the future? Like, what happens if someone does end his life? That's going to have to make him, like, rethink a lot of this shit, I'd have thought, or risk coming off as a massive sociopath. So I guess maybe part of what Jordan here is banking on is that history might not be so kind to HBomberguy eventually. And who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. The best case scenario is that no one gets so fucking ganked like James Somerton seems to have been the closest one to, that they actually do, like, hurt themselves, That's all you can really hope for. But if it does, then you kind of think there's going to be a reckoning,
Accept that and to move on. But you're not capable of understanding that that's the right thing to do. And worse than that, you're buttressed by literally millions of people that will tell you that's not the right thing to do. But what I can say is that I have felt better in the last couple of months. Harris's defenders try to tell me to just let it go. Let it go, let it go, turn away and slam the door. Just let it go over and over again. No, it is not on me to let it go. If you want a better outcome for these kind of things with Harris, maybe tell Harris that he shouldn't intentionally target mentally unwell individuals to get dramatic reactions from them.
I'll say one thing. Does he intentionally target mentally unwell individuals? I don't know. Debatable. Did he know, like, how James Somerton would respond? Like, it's a tough one. I don't know if I know enough to agree with what you just said there.
And then on top of that, don't hold it to those people. Don't tell those people that he's targeted that it's on them to move on when he or they decide that it's over. No, don't start none, won't be none. Harris started this with me, and he came after me, and he continued to come after me long after I had tried to move on with my life and start doing better. And he didn't extend that pissant little attempt at brushing me off until he started facing real criticism from his viewership. I will never be happy about that. I'm not required to be happy about that. I'm not required to move on from anything. But in the last couple of months, as I've been thinking about it, I felt a lot better. And that's what I wanted to say more than anything. I can't talk about Harris at all without venting a little bit of my spleen, as I just did. But ultimately, I felt good. I felt better. I've been happier in my pursuits. I've been happier reading. I've been happier writing. I've been happier making music. And I know that I'm hardly, an outward bastion of good cheer and, cheer and goodwill and all of that. But
yeah, I find him relatable in a way.
Internally, I felt better. And what I can say is where I'm at now, I want to try staying with that for the time being. But Harris, if you hear this, don't ever think of this as me letting you off the hook. I'm not. I don't have to, and I never will. You don't deserve to be let off the hook. Now, I am willing to reconcile with you, and it would be so amazingly easy. What's amazing is you would only look good.
Yeah, we're still kind of clinging to some stuff here, but at the same time, it seems like he's making progress, and that's the good thing, and that he's not getting as much shit. You know what I mean? Oh, and then this. I think he released this since. I think I've seen, I mean, I could watch that on stream. It's not going to happen today. I need to stop fairly soon. But, like, I don't know, man. I'm quite fascinated because I do think there's a problem here. I do think there's, like, significant, like, ethical concerns about the way HBomberguy is handled. Someone like Jordan Owen. Someone like James Somerton. And how his fan base and, like, his Reddit and shit like that are just seemingly free to just stalk fucking James Somerton to the ends of the earth. It's not good.
If you did it, Harris, if you reconciled with me, if you settled things with me in the way that would be satisfactory.
Yeah, I'm sure there were like further videos that the comments were allowed on. I don't know how I'd find out. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go to someone like this. Hey, do you want to talk to me about this shit that traumatized you years ago, you know? Because I'm sure there were other videos. I think I even commented on one, but I can't remember too well. Would have been a while ago. I've been wanting to look at this for a while. Other things kept coming up. I tend to forget about things I want to do, and then it's like months later, it's like, oh shit, I wanted to do that. And maybe the time has passed. I don't know. But yeah.
It's fine to me. It would only make you look good. Your followers would think, wow, what a stand-up guy for him to do that. So no, you don't get off with me, because, you know, when you made that pissant response where you tried to talk about, oh, I think he wants to do better and all of that. I made a video response to that, and I was so gushing in that video. I mean, I'll leave it up for people to see what I'm talking about, but I'm honestly embarrassed by how I carried myself in that video, because I was just gushing with that. And then I stepped back and I thought, wait a minute. No. All that was me saying, Master has given Dobby a sock. No, Harris. No.
Oop, Harry Potter reference, transphobe.
I don't need your approval. You need my forgiveness. You may not give a shit about that, but that's still the reality. So that's what I wanted to say. I'm feeling better about the fact that Harris is incapable of admitting fault. I'm feeling better about the fact that I allowed myself to go into that very toxic mindset. First, the toxic mindset that made me a target to Harris in the first place, with how I was carrying myself publicly. And then the further toxic mindset of like being so destroyed by him that I literally went into I am HBomberguy's bitch mode. I feel better about that. And if there can be any silver lining in all of that business, at least with James Somerton, at least it can be that. You know, we are called in Christ to turn the other cheek. And the thing is, what Harris did was wrong to me. It will never be right. It will never be okay. But we have to leave certain things up to God. And frankly, if Harris continues on the road that he's on, continues targeting bigger and bigger people this way, continues down this path that he's on, he's going to fall hard. You know?
Yeah, I think he's more or less saying what I said earlier. Something might happen one day. He's going to have to reckon with that if that's the case. Let's say someone like James Somerton does end his own life because of the chain of events set, I mean, ultimately by his own wrongdoing, but, you know, from the video, from everything else. You have to wonder about that, because it seems like it's not just that he did something bad, got caught, got criticized, and then went away. Now it's like everything he does, it's like, has to be scrutinized, has to be followed around. It's crazy. So I don't know, I guess history will decide. And I think often, unfortunately, people don't get their karma or whatever, but I don't know. That's kind of the best case scenario anyway, because truly, if you're a sane person, you don't want to see someone get hurt so that someone else gets their comeuppance, you know what I mean? Didn't expect us to veer into Christianity. I don't know if he's saying, I don't know if he means metaphorically or actually believes in God. I would have thought this guy's an atheist, or I certainly used to be.
You know, and Harris, I can say this, I am really glad that I fell flat on my face and got out of the ownage video business when I did. I'm really glad I got out when I did, because otherwise I would be in the position that you're in now. A very precarious, very high pedestal from which to fall very hard. And Harris, you are not as invincible as you think you are. You will be your own undoing, Harris. And who knows, maybe you do. Maybe you are lucky enough to arrive at the end of your life having never...
I mean, animals don't feel self-hatred. I guess that's one of the pitfalls of intelligence, you know? You're not particularly intelligent, you might be more likely to be happy. If you're more intelligent, you start becoming aware of things you wouldn't have otherwise that might, you know, affect you, you know? That was a terrible answer, I'm sorry.
Ever, you know, arrive at the end of your life having never faced accountability for your actions. You know, the same thing happened to Pol Pot. But it will not change the fact that you are that shitheel. and that maybe, just maybe, it eats at you a little bit. I hope it does. I hope somewhere within you there is a small part of you that your past behavior, not just with me, but with a lot of other people that you've targeted and hurt, people that certainly could not be said to deserve the things you inflicted on them. I really do hope that there is something that itches at you about that, Harris, because that is the only thing connecting you to humanity. Anyway, I have gone on far too long with this. I would like for this to be my last, this video. I would like for this to be my last commentary on this matter, barring any new developments. For the time being, though, I'm feeling better. And that is something that I have not been able to say for a long time in regards to this. So I don't know what the future holds. Maybe the future holds more of me acting like a dumbass on the internet. Maybe it holds other things. But I can say that I'm feeling better, at least in regards to this. Just don't mistake that for me being accepting of what happened.
Does seem like self-awareness the direct source of misery. Well, I mean, I don't know. We all embarrass ourselves. We all do things that, on reflection, we wish we didn't do. I don't know, man. It's like that, but it's necessary. And I think maybe too much can be a detriment, I guess.
Happened with me and Harris. Anyway, peace.
Well, isn't it? It's good to end on like a more positive note, you know, as far as this goes anyway. Not the happiest of situations and stories. And like, you know, at least the comments are kind enough. There are other people. I think people are slowly starting to realize that not everything about HBomberguy is kosher. And like, he does good content. He's talented. He's smart. But I don't know, man. Seems the more you look into any big YouTuber who talks about real shit, the more kind of questions you start to have. It seems to happen to a lot of them, and I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess history will decide ultimately. And if anything, I think the best case scenario is where HBomberguy never really does have to reckon with any of this kind of shit, because it means that at least no one hurt themselves or got hurt, you know. But hey, anyway, I guess suicide watch for James Somerton will have to resume. Hopefully he's okay. Can't be easy, you know. You fuck up that badly. Now you can't go anywhere or do anything without people having something to say about it. It kind of sucks. But hey, yeah, there we go. There's my somewhat deep dive on Jordan Owen, HBomberguy. I might look more at this this whole topic. I did want to look at that documentary thing at some point. That sounded interesting, but yeah, I have some stuff I need to do. I'm going to stop for now. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you check the links in my description. You can join my Discord. You can subscribe on Twitch. You can follow me on Patreon. You can donate a few dollars a month. You can check out my music. I make music. If you like indie rock music that's kind of ambient and noisy and emo, then you might enjoy what I do. So yeah, check that out. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll presumably see you tomorrow. I think I'm back tomorrow.